Hello, good evening, and a very warm, and I mean that quite literally, welcome to Silverstone in Northamptonshire, England for the next round, round 8. We're halfway through the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship here in this very sunny evening on late June. Temperatures skyrocketing, the tension skyrocketing in the championship, but our championship leader Alex Laho is back for his presumably triumphant return. That's at least what the Frenchman will be planning, but we have of course got a slightly different picture in the teams championship, a three-way battle between Potentia GP, Hugh Performance, Alex Laho's team, and of course HGP as well, who've got a substitute driver in, Frank Hamming not present today, Francesco Grimolisi filling in the Italian for the Dutch driver then. But my name of course is Edward Hunter, alongside me in commentary Mr. Eoin Harmon and Fabian Jungbluth, as of course our wonderful broadcast director, as he has been for most of the season, doing a stellar job, and there's very little that Fabian Jungbluth misses. What he misses is usually not worth worrying about too much, although some drivers, so let's not put to the test too much by some of the drivers when they watch this back later on. But either way, Owen, let's bring you in now. An interesting point in the championship at the midway phase, of course. It was a very good round last time out for Patrick Rozak. Maximum results, getting his first 2 wins in a row in races 1 and 2 at Imola. And now he comes into Silverstone just 2 points behind Jack Mayer in the battle to be best of the rest. 52 points, though, separate each of them from Alex Laho. He's still not quite in mathematical range. They could probably get very close to him this round if Alex Laho has a difficult time in the first and second races, but it's difficult to see him being knocked off the top spot with the 9 wins that he's had so far this season. And I really think the teams championship could well be the really fascinating one going forward for the next half of this season.
I'd absolutely agree with you, Ed, and welcome along to our viewers. Usually sim racers don't get a lot of sympathy, but tonight, as well as I'm sure on Tuesday, with FS2, there really has to be a bit of, certainly impressive, certainly admiration of our drivers and even the engineers tonight for all the severe heat they have to deal with. So I really hope everybody can manage A-OK, and we have a fun race to entertain this Thursday evening. And as you say, very interesting teams championship. Each team kind of has a different approach about how they've been collecting their points in that top 3. HGP, the ones just they are regularly collecting all those points, but of course with Frank Hamming absent today, that means it will be difficult for them. But certainly Potentia, they love it here at their home Grand Prix, and they're really going to try and impress the home fans tonight.
Yeah, Jack Mayer especially has performed very well here in the past, and he is a former champion all the way back in 2023 in Formula Sprint 1. So he's hoping to close in Alex Laho, but Laho himself is not too shabby around Silverstone, to put it mildly. This is a track that he adores, and his momentum in other championships has been very strong as of late. He also did Super League. So he missed, because he was at Le Mans, watching the 24 Hours of Le Mans at Circuit de l'Issaf in person. That's why he missed the FS1 round at Imola in the sort of build-up, because it's a whole week-long event, of course, not just the 24-hour period over the weekend, or the race takes place. But yeah, then he did take part in the Super League round once he got back, and actually did very respectively, running in the top 5 for quite a lot of that particular race, and I think finishing P6 in the end when I believe it was it Milnek and Tom Stevens both came together right at the end of that one that got him a sort of freebie, which you don't usually get in sim racing, let's be honest. So very interesting times then, as one of my drivers decides to message me at a slightly inopportune moment there with some of his karting lap records. Good to see he's having a good holiday, Eric Brenner. But anyway, we're about to get underway for qualifying then, Owen, and this qualifying for race 1, it's really been Alex Laho's bag lately, hasn't it? I forget who it was that was on. I was almost certainly Patrick Rozak, wasn't it, that was on pole for Imola last time out.
Yeah,
but
he dominated that round, Joe.
He did, yes. Almost Laho-like, one might say. But so I think Japan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Sepang. There was a stretch of 4 rounds in a row that Alex Laho was on pole position for. But Canada, he was... I can't remember if you... I think that might have just stopped updating the polls on this sheet that I've got in front of me. Maybe if I go to the drivers one, it'll be a bit more revelatory. It was, of course, Laho on pole in Canada, so it wasn't a 4-round streak. It was, in fact, a 5-round streak of poles in a row. The only thing that stopped it, potentially, was him missing Imola, where, of course, Patrick Rozak was on pole by a considerable margin. Here is one of the Bodal racing cars doing their first lap out of the pits. I believe this is Gonzalez Green. Indeed it is, who, of course, was third and second in our 2 races in Imola. Very narrowly missed out in the reverse grid race on his first win, the American, to Patrick Rozak, who is simply on fire. But they've got a special livery, I think, dedicating it's 100 years since the establishment of Croatia as a state, or was it 50 years? It's one of the two. It's been around a while. Lorenzo will correct me, no doubt.
Probably in the 90s after the Yugoslavian.
Of course, yes.
Breakup,
of course.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
That's probably the most defining thing about the region as well.
A few months older than me, I think that's what it is. So
Yeah, there we go.
Independence Day.
30 years.
And Neo Visnosti for all our Croatian friends out there.
Yes, there we go. So Gonzalez Green, who has had a pretty strong season so far, 6th in the points table at the moment, about 2 points ahead of Omari Watson, who's obviously had a difficult last couple of rounds, mainly due to he had a really bad start in the first race at Imola, didn't he? And his qualifying has been a little bit up and down as well. So that's why Omari Watson is 7th, while his teammate is the runner-up in the championship at the moment. Yeah, so Gonzalez Green, 30 points there behind Lucas Tylin and the absent Frank Hamming, another 24 points up the road. So great opportunity for Gonzalez Green to slowly maybe put the if he can beat Phelan at a track that Phelan has won in reverse grid races here before, that could be a big statement then as he starts his first flying lap. It's of course a private qualifying session, as it has been all season, just to remind those who might be tuning in for the first time. So there's no chance of drivers slipstreaming each other down the hangar straight into Stowe. And of course, Silverstone, the temperatures here quite hot indeed, to put it mildly. 52.7 degrees track temperature, air temperature 33 degrees. We're in the middle of a heat wave, not just in the UK, but in Europe as well. So, as you rightly pointed out earlier, Eoin, there'll be a lot of solidarity. I think maybe because everyone's sort of in a similar situation, there won't be a whole lot of sympathy, more solidarity. Everybody's struggling in the heat. That's to sit in front of a very heavy, hot, overheating computer and in front of a labour-intensive sim rig, having to wrestle with the wheel and pedals for a good period of time. You've got to feel even more sympathy for the Super Lights and Super League, because they've got to do the full Grand Prix distance, whereas we at least have just the sprint length. It's really only the feature race that might be where fatigue might creep in towards the end. The sprint race should be, by comparison, a much less arduous task in front of them. But Gonzalez Green will be the first to complete the lap. But what can our American friend do in the UK here?
Well, it's P5, as a matter of fact, there for AGG.
Look at that Laho lap.
Yeah, he smashed it in the first attempt. He's definitely getting that habit now. His best lap is his first lap. And Rozak, he now realizes the threat in front of him. It was only the one opportunity he had freed up. He certainly took it. But now the main event player is back, and he's feeling better than ever despite the extreme heat. So yeah, that is the challenge, even when everybody feels that little bit dehydrated and stressed in the heat. So it really does bring the best out of the drivers. And Scott Flack, of course, is in winter time by comparison in the Southern Hemisphere. So he'll be saying, lads, this is normal for me. What's the matter?
Yeah, there is Grimolisi saying his first flying lap in qualifying, his first appearance in FS1 of the season. He's been, of course, one of the front runners in Academy, has the Italian. If you go back to I forget what the track was, but it was the Academy round, the you and I commentated, wasn't it, Eoin, where he was fighting against Aragon, that was it, in Spain, yes, where he was fighting against Nova McKenna and one other driver as well. But they had a great freeway fight for the lead, which Grimolisi, I believe, came out on top of in the end in that first race. It was very, very entertaining. So he's certainly got something to prove at the top level here, as indeed has Filip Zawinski, who you may remember because he won this race in FS2 when he did it earlier on Tuesday, of course, for his particular team. And Savinski, 1 point to his name at the moment. 23 points to his name at the moment. He's 1 point off Mateusz Gazowski, having, of course, made his debut, finishing 6th and 7th back in Imola. Although I forget which team. It was a while ago, so I forget which team he was driving for, to be honest. So, but yeah, he was certainly filling in there and doing a very admirable job. As now we look at the return of Excellion. There's Remco De Zeo, who you may, you may not recognize necessarily, but you and I will do, and because he is a very stalwart broadcast director in GPV and R32 in general, it must be said. So it is great to see him back behind the wheel. Of course, Excellion had to miss the last round as Remco and his teammate Cedric Bill not available and no replacements ready to jump in. I think this is all the big teams get first call on them. They seem more interested in going there, I guess. But Excellion, of course, the German team, first lap on the board for Remco. He's just a second off the pace. That puts him P17 ahead of Oliver Hargitay then. And both CM Techs who have not had brilliant laps to start their session here. So a lot of teams further down still seeking time. We also see Antonio Hrjanovic, who was, of course, in the top 6 in qualifying at Imola. Didn't have an amazing race, fell to the lower end of the top 10 for Team Iris, but still got some very respectable points for a team that dearly needed them. And Hrjanovic seems to be the full-time main driver in their Team Iris Greek car now. So it's going to be fascinating to see if he can go even better here and has learnt the lessons. They're equal with Alpha Sierra in the fight for 11th in the championship, both on 46 points respectively. So Team Iris were pretty much near the back behind MS Performance and 0-1 up until Imola. So this is a big boost for them. Of course, 10th and 15th, both in the points in both races was Antonio. So he's got a big opportunity here on his. Of course, he was very competitive back in the day, back in I think 2018, wasn't it, when it was a previous competition in FS1 before 2 weeks ago. So he's definitely turning back the years, although it wouldn't have been this hot back then. So a new challenge. It's interesting you say, because there's some drivers that really hate driving in the heat, and there are some drivers that just absolutely excel, and it's like water off a duck's back to them, which is probably a bad analogy because now you're thinking of cooler temps with a lot of water involved. But yeah, it's almost like when you go for a marathon against someone and they just don't seem bothered by the heat at all, and you just got to get annoyed because you put your all in and then you're sweating buckets, and this other guy looks like he could run 10 more.
My goodness, yeah, definitely a good analogy here. The drivers will have at least the luxury of a little bit of a break in between the feature race and then our reverse grid sprint. So that's when everybody has to definitely get the towels and anything else they need to dry themselves off for the sprint race. So that'll definitely feel like a sprint with the heat. But Filip Czerwinski is on course here for a very good lap here for Team Hugh Performance, who will be grateful certainly to have two cars challenging for big results. Oh, a bit of a slide there out of the final chicane. He's going to still be in contention. Oh, yeah, certainly a P5 is warranted there for that lap. Just a little bit of a slip on the rear tires. That cost Philip a little bit of time, but that's still very good. But Jack Mayer, he's got the home support behind him, and he's going to try and improve on that P5. And it's not to be, I'm afraid. The last two sectors just let him down a bit.
Only 5 thousandths behind Scott Flack in 4th. So once more, Flack, a bit of a... I don't want to say qualifying specialist, but because he is actually pretty handy in the races as well. But he's certainly coming to the fore in qualifying, and that gives him a good platform here. As we see James Knox for Bodal Racing, of course, filling in the seat that usually James Juba. So we swap one James for another, and Knox knocking Scott Flack out of 4th position there. Sorry. But at only 9 thousandths behind Michael Francesconi, who's 3rd in now the leading HGP with the absence of Frank Hamming. So, yeah, our top two, it's almost no surprise. Our top two are Laho and Rozak here, but it's very, very tight, but basically behind Rozak essentially onwards. Yeah, Patrick Rozak. How dearly, if only Alex Laho had to miss this one as well, then Rozak would be looking at a very narrow pole position right now. But the Frenchman has been able to show up here, so Rozak now will have to rise to the challenge. At the moment, he's just a way off in, let's see, sector. I think he's pretty much a way off in sector 1 especially. It's Yeah, 10 faster, Laho in Sector 1, 10 faster in Sector 2, and a 10 faster in Sector 3. So it all adds up to 3 temps there. I was just thinking if I could confirm the actual fastest lap rather than the ones they're doing now, as there goes Van Sust into P16 for MS Performance then. And it's certainly been a bit of an up and down season for MS Performance, of course. They did get a couple of points. They had a very good race 2, wasn't it, in Canada, where they gambled on the dry tyres on a wet track. They were one of the few teams to do so, and they got both cars home in the top 10, which was comfortably their best result this season. Only 2 points from race 2 in Imola, though. So the points have been rare for our very brightly coloured purple and bright green team, haven't they? So Van Sust and his teammate Wesley Stefano have certainly had to really work hard. And qualifying has not been a particular strength for us. You can see Van Sust just outside the points-paying positions. That would give him quite a lot of ground to make up in race 1 here.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing with MS Performance. It's been a roller coaster ride for them in their very short history here in the FS1 category, going for championships in year 1 and then back at the tail end of the field in year 2. Now they're just trying to rebuild, but so far has been a difficult first half of the season now that we're almost ready to cross halfway. And Scott Flack, not too concerned about that. He's still thinking about regular points each and every Thursday evening, every second Thursday of the month. So yeah, great work so far. But going back to, he's going to have a bit of a problem there. Yeah, that's a bit of a disconnection. So that's not a valid lap, I'm afraid. That'll be chalked off. But yeah, just to return to MS Performance, their best result so far is that P7 and P10 combo in the terrible rain shower at Montreal. So they've got to hope for a little bit more luck during the sunshine. And let's see how that goes. But Gazowski for Emerald Hummingbird, a team with definitely that wind beneath their sails. They see Gazowski gain 3 places there with a P12. So good lap with 3 minutes to go. So you've got to get your times on the board. So close for teammate Roshak there. But he still has time, as this lap optimally is 94 seconds. So you've about a minute, 10 seconds to prepare yourself.
You can see there, Rozak, even though it was the final sector there, he was matching Laho in the first 2 sectors. By the time he got to the final sector, the tyres were potentially overheating and misbehaving because the time just sort of slid away there to the tune of 2.5 tenths or so. So he's gained about half a tenth overall, but he's still, and that's put him with a healthy margin to Francesconi, who's just under 2 tenths back from him. Now, Francesconi himself, only 9 thousandths of Laho in Sector 1, swinging through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. Brilliant sort of direction changes there. There is the second split, but again, maybe Laho taking a bit more risks than him. 2 tenths behind Laho through Sector 2 then. So it's all going to come down to the final sector here. Of course, Francesconi only 9 thousandths ahead of James Knox. He's coming into the pit lane with 2 minutes left to go. So this will have to be a very, very quick swap for new tyres here if Francesconi wants to have another crack at pole. So that could be it then. Patrick Rozak, though, has gone a little bit quicker in Sector 2. But again, the middle sector time is ebbing away here, as we see Philip Zawinski has actually gone 3rd fastest. So sheer performance. Once more, we've got 2 drivers in the top 3 in qualifying.
Yeah, definitely that second seat in the Hugh Performance team.
And that could be it for Rozak.
Rozak has thrown in his lap time. Laho spins it around on purpose there through the final chicane.
I think he might have overheated the rear tyres there.
Yeah, the tyres might just prove too much. But yes, definitely he kept the foot in before hitting those brakes. And Tylene here for KKR. I have to say, yeah, it's rare to have KKR not represented at all in the top 10. They're usually a very solid pick for reverse grid results and other podiums. So,
look at that lap by James Knox, 134.7. That puts him just ahead of Zawinski then. So Bodal have got Knox in the top 3 here, and James Knox, who obviously had to abandon his Super Light season because, to put it mildly, in the words of James Knox, it wasn't going to plan. So he's been sort of moonlighting in FS2 and now FS1 as well. So great to see Knox, who of course is the owner of the Fox Motorsports team that competes in FS2, was fighting against his own driver, Magnus Ockenhag, in race 2 for the win. Heldranovic goes to P6 now. That puts him just behind Francesconi. Over the line comes Filing. He goes from 15th to 10th there. So you said they weren't represented in the top 10. Lucas Filing changing it right at the final moment of asking there. He may have enough time to get a second lap in here. Who knows? Let's hope the tyres can hold up here.
Absolutely. And 01 Esports, we've got Perseus Miram behind the wheel here, heading down towards Copse Corner. One of the best in motorsport, in my opinion. Yeah, one of the great spectacles before even Maggots and Beckett's adds to the specialty here. So wonderful, wonderful scenes to see these FS1 cars at full tilt. And there you go, through Chapel now. And hopefully this lap is valid. Yeah, he's well on course for an improvement here. So ideally, he should be aiming for the top 20. Maybe even a bit better if he can get those extra tenths of a second. Yeah, so he'll be hoping to catch up to Remy van Soest on the best of times. So let's see if he can even improve upon that. So final few corners, right-handers all the way now, using the outside curbs as a little reference. Checkered flags now out. Perseus Miram. The last sector, the tires must have gone.
Couple of improvements here. Heljanovic, personal best first sector, a little bit off, 4/10 off in sector 2, so that could be it for him. Gonzalez Green is also setting a personal best first sector, as is Gazowski and Van Soest. So I think Gonzalez Green, Francesconi, I think just off of his personal best as well, but not an amazing middle sector for him either. So maybe the temperature's skyrocketing and just overcooking the rear tires through some of the faster corners here. You can see Gonzalez Green himself 4/10 off in the middle sector then. So we've got one Bodle in third in the form of James Knox, but Gonzalez Green goes off track through Stove, and then we'll have to abandon that lap completely then. As through goes Gazowski, he will complete his lap. Is this going to get him into the top 10? You can see the rears are gone already as he goes through Club there. So backwards in the gravel, that's how his session will end in P14, just ahead of Menno Klont. Then Philip Koenig, 1.5 seconds down in the first sector. I would suggest that the German, his lap is probably not going to be completed here. So that, I think, is going to be a lot for qualifying for race 1 at Silverstone. Another pole for Alex Laho.
Yeah, and he was saying it himself. He was frustrated after Montreal. He knew one day off is going to cause him problems, but now that he's back in action after enjoying the Le Mans 24 hours, he has that pole position in the bag, Ed. And Patrick Roszak, he is the threat to him in terms of pure momentum. So that'll be a fascinating front row heading into our feature race.
I was just looking at the comments, by the way. Carlos Martin has posted in, I can't wait for Remco to tattoo the wall in Cops. Certainly, there's a championship I was commentating on that I also am the president of, where two drivers collided at Cops, and both of them ended up being embedded in the wall in a fight for P10. So that was quite entertaining. But anyway, and Fabian may have been broadcasting that one as well. But anyway, let's go back to qualifying results and to confirm. Alex Laho, 2.5 tenths ahead of Patrick Roszak. Not the most dominant margin from Alex Laho, but he will happily take that one. Patrick Roszak on the front row alongside him, looking for his third victory in a row after dominating at Imola. James Knox, looking for his first FS1 podium, of course, filling in for Bodle Racing Team. A very impressive lap there. Philip Zawinski continues his strong form from Imola in P4. And then we have Michael Francesconi in P5 for HGP. Antonio Heljanovic continues his strong qualifying form, out qualifying Scott Flack by just 100th of a second in P6. Jack Mayer in his home race starts P8. Francesco Grimalizzi filling in P9. So a lot of rookies. We've got Knox, Savinsky, Grimalizzi all impressing here. Lucas Tylin all round out the top 10 for KKR. Then in P11, we should have Omari Watson for Potentia GP in his own appearance. Of Watson having a late improvement. He was struggling for a lot of that session, actually. Just outside the top 10 in the end, ahead of Alexander Gonzalez Green. Demi Cardes will qualify 13th. Then we have Matis Gazowski 14th in the second of our Emerald Hummingbirds. Menno Klont in our final points paying position in 15th ahead of Philip Koenig. Oliver Hargitay in P17. Wopke Hoekstra will start P18. Raymond van Soest for Emma's Performance will start P19. Remco De Zeeuw in his first appearance in a while will just start inside of the top 20 then. So joy for De Zeeuw. I think that's probably one of his better qualifying performances of the season. Victor Bernat, disappointment for him. He is only 21st. Massimiliano Riboli is 22nd. Perseus Miram, the sole 01, he is subbing in for that team. He is in 23rd. Michel Galka is 24th. And James Rokai never really got a decent lap together. He's a second and a half off the pace, which doesn't sound a lot, but that's enough to put him 25th in the second of our Alpha Sierra. So Rokai was showing great pace in the past. A lot of work to do come race 1 in a few short minutes time. But there we go then. With the temperatures being so high, thoughts inevitably turn to strategy, don't they? And you would expect this is the kind of scenario where a lot of our front runners are going to go for the hards rather than the softs, because the softs, while they'll be maybe better off the line and better for the first few laps, they're just going to melt away in this heat. You want to make sure you're switching to the softer compound, maybe just in the closing stages once the fuel's burned off a bit.
Of course, and yeah, you have to factor in the pit lane entry as well. At the beginning, you get a little bit of an advantage as it cuts the final chicane, so you do actually get to be ahead of your competitors by the time you take your right-hand turn. But once you're heading back out, everyone will be absolutely flying flat out through Abbey and Farm, so you've got to be extremely careful on pit exit, and that's when those drivers will be able to certainly utilise their overcut in these conditions. So that's what they'd prefer to do, but I'm sure there will be plenty of undercuts as well. To time your change to your second compound is absolutely critical today. You can't get it wrong by even one lap, or else certainly those soft tyres will be extremely exposed to the heat.
Indeed, I think they're going to be exposed to the heat regardless. It's just how much of it is the question, as you rightly point out. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one, as not just for the Drivers' Championship, where Laho can hold on to the lead and take yet another Race 1 victory. I think San Marino, by not showing up, is the only time he's not won in Race 1 so far this season. And yeah, certainly Patrick Rozak is the closest challenger. But James Knox in P3, Philip Savinsky, Alex Lowe's teammate, backing him up in that team's championship, where Hugh Performance desperately need to get the drop on Potentia once more. It does feel like Potentia, even though they are leading the team's championship through being consistent, they've gotten their cars in the points for, I think, both cars ever since race 2 in Malaysia onwards. So for the last two and a half rounds, essentially, consecutively, which is not the easiest thing to do. But now it does feel like Hugh Performance back on full song. HGP has still got, of course, Francesconi in the top 5 and Grimolisi bottom end of the top 10 as well. It does feel like it is definitely Jack Mayer and Omari Watson that will have a lot of work to do in this race. And we saw San Marino Imola was a difficult track for them to overtake on. Now they cannot afford to make big mistakes here, because they could just lose them the lead in that team's championship. But once they lose it, once Alex Laho gets his mojo underway, there doesn't seem to be any stopping him. And they seem to, Hugh Performance, have found some excellent second driver, a sort of revolving door of very capable replacements. Che Hatch, and now, of course, Philip Savinsky.
Yeah, that's great headhunting there from our Vietnamese team that have joined the grid in 2026. So that's what you need to do to become highly successful, is you need to be able to react to all kinds of situations. And certainly Alex having his one time off so far this year, that means that they have to be extremely adaptive. So they did so. Che Hatch took the leadership role strongly there. Of course, solid points, not quite what he would have wanted at Imola, but now we have the chance to see another competitor have a try. That would be Philip's role today, to try and challenge for the podium places and make sure that Hugh Performance end the day still top of the standings.
Yeah, running board with James Knox, who is going fastest at the moment in this warm-up session on the soft tyres. Interestingly, him and Omari Watson just 2,000ths apart in this warm-up. Alex Laho, though, one of the drivers starting on the hards, as thinking back of this Bodil car, as I believe we switched over to, this is Gonzalez Green now in the second car. I know it's the Croatian flag, but looking at the rear, it feels like the intro to Speed Racer with the checkered red and white pattern there. So yeah, certainly I think that's certainly not what Bodil and Lorenzo was going for here. But yeah, the Bodil Racing team, you had to take their first win this season. Gonzalez Green got so close in Imola, and James Knox, if he could get his first FS1 podium, how dearly he would love to get the jump on both Laho and Rozak in front of him. So big opportunity here, but also big pressure. Knox, of course, has performed at a very high level. He's been really good in FS2, even though Superlights, as I say, was a little bit of a, I don't want to say disaster, but it certainly, as I say, did not go the way he would have hoped. So this is a great opportunity for him to prove in the sort of the third tier, I should say, of GPVWC, that he has got what it takes. And I think there'll be few that will bet against James Knox doing a good job here and getting a really big haul of points.
Of course, yeah. One of the many home drivers today. English drivers there, so that's certainly an advantage. He knows the track already from driving on Tuesday to success. With that momentum behind him, he has a solid team and a manager to assist him along his way in this Tuesday-Thursday double. That'll definitely make him a strong contender if things go to plan.
I think there's only 3 British drivers, aren't there? Because we've got Knox, Watson and Mayer, the 2 potentials. So unless there's someone who's got maybe dual Anglo nationality. He was, yes, the Scotsman. Who will be absolutely appalled at the prospect of being called English.
Yeah, I know, that's been English, so. Chris Butcher was here for a time early in the season, so.
Oh, we got Rokai. I forgot about James Rokai.
Rokai,
Yes,
sorry.
there we go. 4 British drivers there.
Yes.
So, which is actually quite a lot when you think about it, considering 25 drivers, that's almost a fifth of the grid then. So it's like in a real life Formula 1, there's a big contingent and quite a lot of them at the front, although I suspect we might be seeing most of our overtakes from Rokai near the back, making his way through as he tries to get into the points. Has James scored any so far this season out of curiosity? No, he's not, of course. 4 DNFs to his name. It's a great pace, but unfortunately a lot of bad luck and retirements to James Rokai's name so far. But of course, James seems to be a good name to have in FS1 at the moment for both Knox and of course Juba. So let's hope some of the James is actually my middle name as well. So maybe let's hope a bit of that rubs off for Mr. Rokai as well. So. And yes, for those wondering, that does mean my middle name is James Hunt. There we go. Because winner at Silverstone here in 1977 for the British Grand Prix there in real life, which I think was his penultimate victory. I think his very last one was at Fuji at the very end of 77. So there we go. Yeah, it's a very short career for James Hunt, of course. 1973 through to end of 79, yeah. Well, middle of 79 at Monaco.
Yeah, he quit, yeah.
And of course immediately became a commentator, as many people remember some of his a job that he of course took very, very seriously, including womanizing and drinking occasionally right before getting into the commentary, or maybe even during commentary on some occasions, as well as infamous story of him fighting over the microphone with Murray Walker because he wanted to make a point, and back in those days they only had the one microphone. But rest assured we can't do that even if I wanted to, Eoin, because you and me not in the same room. Not for that reason, of course.
No.
Anyway, you can tell it's a bit hot. Anyway, we're not far away then from the end of this warm-up session. 50 seconds to go. We talked about strategy. We talked about who to look out for at the front of the field. What is the thumbnail for this particular race?
It was the bottle. It was the bottle.
It was the bottle, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about them a fair bit, of course. Lorenzo Terovic's team. That, of course, last season was the... had a different name that I can't remember now because it's
LEF Auto Race.
LEF, that was it, yes. Yeah. So there's been a brand name change. They've become slightly more patriotic with the Croatian identity, a very clear part of Lorenzo's team here. And of course, Alexander Gonzalez-Green has very much gone from strength to strength this season. And of course, as I say, James Juba, he's in P11 in the points, having sort of missed the first 3 rounds. From Jeddah onwards, he's very much been on it, very rarely, only once finishing outside of the top 9, of course. So, while Gonzalez-Green's form has been a little bit up and down, when he's on it, he has been on the podium and absolutely superb then. And it definitely feels like in their sophomore season, Bodal have been a really, really strong outfit. And like I said, getting James Knox on board to sub in could well prove a masterstroke here.
Yeah, it certainly could. So, timing your substitutions just right really can play a positive mark here in GPVWC competition. So, yeah, fingers crossed. The Independence Day will be one to remember for the Croatian team. So, yeah, checker flag now out, so everybody still on circuit can log their last laps. I believe Amari Watson is one of them. Filip Savinski's another, so they're still allowed to set a lap time.
When you said Independence Day, I was getting flashbacks to Brexit,
Oh,
which of course was nearly 10 years ago this week, I think. So yeah, a couple of days ago.
No,
but anyway, yeah, it's okay. But of course, Croatian independence, much more valid. I think something much more worthy of celebration, in my opinion. But anyway, hopefully, I haven't just annoyed a subsection of GPVWC that is hugely pro-Brexit. Then, so I apologise if that's offended you, and you're hovering over the off button and gonna watch GB News instead. But anyway, before I dig myself into more of a hole, it looks like we're just finishing final laps in this session. So it should be this man we're watching at the moment, Alexander Gonzalez Green, in car number 77. It is our last man over the line, and difficult qualifying for AGG, wasn't it? Sort of low down the top 10, but we've seen this before where he's not qualified particularly well, but gotten a really good reverse grid draw and been just absolutely relentless come the second race of the day then. And he's pretty handy at making places in the first as well, come to think of it too. So lots of progress to make up for him from just outside the top 10, or rather in 12th, I should say, not inside the top 10. So there we go. AGG abandons that final lap. And that means we're going to go very quickly from warm-up into the race after this bumper. Don't go anywhere.
Non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
There we go. The stage is set then for our midpoint of the season, round 8 of 16. Alex Lowe leading the Drivers' Championship by 52 points, but only 2 points separate Jack Mayer and Patrick Rozak, who lines up alongside Laho on the front row. And don't forget, of course, our Teams Championship, just 5 points separate Potentia, our championship leaders, in their home race, with HGP and Hugh Performance equal. On 323, just 5 behind our points leaders then. So that is going to be very, very exciting. Which of them is going to take advantage here? Hugh Performance have got pole position here, and they have got Filip Savinski on the second row as well. And then we have James Knox in third, who could be the wild card, the one that nobody's expecting. Highest placed of our British drivers. The formation lap begins, as you see in the background. So that's a great opportunity for us to go through our 25 car field ahead of our first race of the day. There we go, the Frenchman, Alex Lowe, on pole for, I believe, the 10th time this season. Oh, no, it wouldn't be the 10th time, it would be the 7th time this season. Yeah. Patrick Rozak alongside him on the front row, with James Knox and Filip Savinski making up row 2. Row 3 is Michael Francesconi, John Barantonio Hadjanovic. Australia's Scott Flack lines up ahead of Jack Mayer on row 4. Francesco Grimalizzi, in his first appearance, lines up on row 5 with Lucas Phelan alongside him. Amari Watson and Alexander Gonzalez Green make up row 6. Damien Kardas, the Polish driver, lines up on row 7 with Mateusz Kozowski, his fellow countryman, in 14th. Then on row 8 we have Menno Klont, joined by Filip Koenig. Oliver Hargitay and Wopke Hoekstra make up row 9. On row 10, rounding out the top 20, we have Raymond van Sust and Remco De Zeo. Victor Bernat and Massimiliano Riboli are on row 11. Row 12 is Persis Miram and James Rokai. I believe Michel Galka is going to make up 25th and last position, having not set a time in qualifying. Garrett 82 will have 2 cars in this race. Ricardo's 13th, Galka 25th. So Rokai, luckily for him, not starting at the very, very back. It will be Galka that has the most cars ahead of him then. So the field is 1 car bigger, but it's 1 car at the front that everybody will have their eyes on, including everybody in our field racing, and that is Alex Laho, of course. Of course, with the big lead that he has, with the performances he's put in so far this season, all the eyes, all the pressure, all the attention will be on the Frenchman here. And inevitably, no matter how accomplished you are, there will be just the little bit of jitters here, as Alex Laho will be very conscious that he has to nail the start here. It's very easy to lose track position going into farm and the complex at village and the loop.
Of course, yeah. So I suppose we had our spring break a little while ago. We had 2 weeks without Alex to think about, but he's back. And his chance to end June on the best possible note at the expense of Patrick Roshak and our remaining competitors. It's all on the line in just a moment's time.
Ooh, nice round. In comes Michel Galka then, as, you can see, I think that's Miram that's had to sort of, he's lined up in his grid spot wrong because he's come at a bit of a weird angle coming out of club. So he's in his grid spot a little bit to the left, so the light sequence begins then. And Alex Laho and Patrick Roszak on the front row. Who is going to get the launch into turn 1? Away we go, and Percy's Miram does get a penalty for being out of position there, but it is Laho that has nailed the getaway here. Roszak tailing him into farm, and you can see James Knox is held on to third, but Philip Zawinski is right alongside. A little bit of a move up the inside into village in the loop from Patrick Roszak, who's going for the lead, but he's on the outside, tries to tug back underneath Alex Laho. That was a bold attempt, but now here comes James Knox looking to punish Roszak. Interestingly, he doesn't follow him there. I think Knox trying to defend from Zawinski. Oh dear, is that Rokai in trouble right at the back there, who has fallen to 25th and last. After all, as we see, Knox has got Zawinski to the outside here as they go through left field. Jack Mayer has made a good start and gotten up to P5 and is now challenging Zawinski for P4 there. So your top 10 is Laho, Roszak, Knox, Zawinski, Mayer, Francesconi, Flack, Grimalizi, and Flack still dueling away. Scott Flack up the inside. Grimalizi braves it around the outside. The Italian really getting his elbows out in his first appearance and holding on to P7 there from Flack, Watson, and Tylin.
Oh, extraordinary stuff there, but our top 5 drivers are all in a pretty noticeable queue, but watch out for the slipstream here. Lots of wiggling and weaving there. No more of that will be permitted. So, bit of a bump on the floor there, on the underfloors, and down the inside briefly was Roszak, but it's been thwarted, and that will allow Laho to lead the first lap from pole position with Jack Mayer absolutely raring to go here.
And that's Watson having a go at Flack and getting through there at the Vale and Club Chicane now. So inspired move from Omari Watson then to get into P8 as Scott Flack on the hards, really struggling here. Laho also, interestingly, is another driver that's on the hards. Everybody behind him down to Murray Watson on the soft tyre here. So Laho on the alternate strategy here. If he can hold on, this could be an absolute masterstroke here. Him, Scott Flack, Lucas Ferdinand, Antonio Heldranovic, and Damien Cardes, Alex Gonzalez Green, all on this contra strategy, whereas everybody else is going for broke on the softs. How quickly will they decay here as Knox is all over the back of Roszak, and that's the problem for Patrick Roszak. He cannot attack Alex Laho even on the softer compound type because he's having to defend from the Bodel and Philip Zawinski behind him.
Exactly, yeah. It's so difficult when you're stuck in that middle part of a battle. You have to be watching your mirrors and the very front of your car in quick order, or else you're going to crash with somebody by not paying attention, even if it might not be your fault necessarily. Sometimes you could be plowed into from behind, for example. But now side by side, Maggots and Beckett's here. This would be crazy if that actually came off for Matthias Guzowski, but not to be. It was wise just to allow the race to continue uninterrupted for both himself and Gonzalez Green. So now,
Gonzalez Green is at the back of a hard tyre pack, and he's threatening to drop out of DRS behind Cardes here. So that's why you're seeing Guzowski on the softs and Koenig on his set of softs in the final point Spain position, starting to gang up on him here. They want to isolate Gonzalez Green and then bully him out of that 13th place then. So AGG has got to have his wits about him and see if he can keep Cardes within DRS range. At the moment, he's just about doing that.
He's on target at the moment. Laho briefly had fast lap, but actually went to Patrick Roszak on later inspection there. So Roszak is keeping the championship leader very honest so far.
But the middle sector was where Laho was sitting in the purple time zone. So
yes, indeed, yeah.
Roszak faster overall on the lap, but Laho going into that main overtaking opportunity coming out of Maggots, Beckett's and Chaplin to Stowe. He is quicker, although on this lap Roszak goes 3 times quicker through the first sector and is fastest of anybody. So he's starting to gap Knox by about half a second now as we cut back to that lead fight then. And you can see there Roszak and the Emerald Hummingbird getting excited here. He knows his best chance of winning here is if he can get track position over Alex Laho. But Laho knows on the harder tyres, he can simply wait for them to pit even if they go for in front of him, and he could well be on the best strategy here.
Yeah, definitely. The later laps will count massively for Laho on the hard tyres, so that's where he'd have the chance to recycle the lost time in the second half of the race. But now DRS wide open again. Laho's committed to the inside line, but then a switchback for Rosjak, trying to outwit Alex there, but not to be. That bump certainly causing me a bit of a concern there, but it seems like the drivers are not perturbed whatsoever. They're able to take that bump, no problem at all. As lap 4 shall commence with all the drivers in the top 5 lockstep with each other, so lots more intensity I'm sure will occur.
Yeah, that was a very, very solid attempt to outfox Alex Laho, but it didn't quite work on that occasion. Diving up the inside into Village in the loop, and this is where we saw him try and make this move on the first lap. Alex Laho gets a little bit slidey as he has to get offline to defend slightly, so the pack is going to bunch up here, and now Rozak very much at the mercy of James Knox, who is going to be craving that P2 in his home race. Knox himself has pulled a little gap to Zawinski. To the outside comes Rozak, and he's going to clear around the outside of Alex Laho into Brooklands and now Lutfield as they accelerate towards Woodcote then. So Rozak doing exactly what he needed to do early in the race, and he's got to disappear up the road before Knox now gets a chance to pass Laho himself then. And I suspect Knox will be thinking about a move up the inside into Stowe at the end of the hangar straight here if he can set up the exit from Chapel.
Precisely. Eager to see Alex struggled now in the dirty air for a bit.
Problem is Laho's now getting DRS from Rozak.
Yeah, he will get it. Exactly, he will get it, but I suppose the dirty air effect in the corners will certainly play a little bit of a difference, as those hard tyres do need to come to life in a little while. The softs have to be in their peak window about now. Maybe lap 10 will be a generous assessment about their duration, but we'll wait and see. But Rosjak confident now in the lead. He's been quick in the middle sector again. He's hoping to break that DRS toe in a matter of seconds, but it's going to be tough with Knox and Servinski also able to react to some rear end activation as well. So Knox knows his chance. It's going to be very brief, but he needs to take it.
Oh, first pit stop of the race for Perseus Miriam. By the way, Wopke Hoekstra has fallen about a minute behind the rest of the pack, so something happening to the Dutchman. You've got to feel for poor Wopke. He's not had a whole lot of fortune this season, has he? With only really a couple of decent reverse grid results. He's well down the order in the championship. 24th position, of course, on just 16 points to his name. Let's hope that race 2 goes a bit better for him, because this one, with Miriam pitting, Miriam has come out still 41 seconds in front of him then. So, meanwhile, Remco De Zeer has actually maintained position. Hoekstra, I think, is on fresh tyres because he's just gone set the purple fastest middle sector of the race then. As you see, Rozak still a half a second ahead of Alex Laho. Even though the hard tyres, he has got to sort of preserve them, because remember, 52.7 degrees track temperature. So even on the hards, you are going to have to be careful here, given the sort of searing temperatures, not just in real life, but in game as well. As you see, Rozak, he might be eking towards breaking DRS here as yellow flag in the middle sector. What's happened there? I think it's Hoekstra that maybe has hit trouble. And no, Hoekstra has gained on Miriam. So it's somebody else that's had an off there. Gazowski, I think we're hearing, in P14. Although he set the personal best first sector of the race then. So I think that's him desperately trying to pass Gonzalez Green and not quite succeeding then. As we now cut back to Menno. We see an off track there for Victor Bernat. He's going to rejoin just ahead in front of Menno. Menno tucks underneath. Bernat can't quite get out of the way in time. The problem is he rejoined and was so much slower than the CM Tech. So Menno gets through, but not about a little bit of contact. And now side by side with Oliver Hargitay, who wants that P17 from Bernat as well. So Bernat, after a difficult qualifying, has gone his way into the top 20 and now diving back up the inside. And Menno, very late move on the soft tyre, but he's left himself exposed on the inside there. He's nearly going to lock wheels for Aintree with Menno Clont there, as we see. Is that Alexander Gonzalez Green having to fight there? He's caught right up to Cardas, as we see Oliver Hargitay now also passing Menno Clont into Brooklands for P17. So our hard tire runners still have not got the grip that the soft runners do at this point in the race then. So the changeover from when the hards are going to start to become into peak performance and the softs are going to fall off the cliff, we are still a number of laps away from that.
Yeah, very much so. And for Claus, he's gone through Cop's corner very wide. I was just going to say, yeah, he thought he profited from Bernard's misfortune, but he ends up losing out in the end as Hargatai, the Hungarian, was able to pick up a piece of that action for himself. And that means it's Menno Clont having to work so hard all over again. The top 5 since that lead change has remained pretty stable. Jack Mayer stuck in P5 at the moment. He knows Servinski has that duty for Hugh Performance to try and dislodge Knox off the podium and then defend with all he's got for the sake of the championship. With 20 laps remaining in this feature race, Servinski is definitely one to watch at the moment, as he has that opportunity to be a bit more flexible on his soft tire strategy opposite his teammate, which we just can't predict what he'll do. Maybe he'll just react to something else going on.
Sadly, we just lost James Rokai from the race then, so a race that didn't start particularly well with him spinning in the background coming out of Aintree on the first lap has also ended with a premature retirement then. So meanwhile, this lead battle with Laho crucially staying with it. He's actually personal best first sector 2/10 quicker than Rozak, so staying within DRS range is absolutely crucial to him because, of course, even though Laho could go longer on these hard tyres, pit later on for the softs and set a tremendous pace, the problem is he could get undercut and lose track position, which is still quite important here. At Silverstone, there's only a couple of decent overtaking opportunities then. It's not like you can slipstream your way through any which way you want. You really do have to plan out in advance. And we see Francesconi drop out. Has he been disconnected there? Didn't look like it was an incident. He was just ahead of Grimalisi in P6, wasn't he? But that's huge for the team's championship. HGP are now a man down.
Just helpless moment there. Michael Francesconi, definitely a driver who has earned plenty of kudos this season, but I'm afraid it has quickly gone wrong on him. So that will be heartbreaking for HGP. They are going to be the big losers in the team's championship so far. I know Mario Watson's just getting on with the job in P7, but that's still healthy points for Potentia as things stand. So for HGP to lose a definite chunk of points there for Michael, that is just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, but of course for Rozak, even if Laho's strategy ends up being the better one to be on, he's got the track position now, and he doesn't want to pit too early for the hards, as you can actually see Laho getting closer and closer. Last lap was sort of nearly 2/10 quicker for Alex Laho then. So is Laho pushing the hards quite early on in the stint here, or with under 20 laps to go, or is this just a case of the softs now 8 laps in finally starting to struggle here as James Knox's connection briefly flickers in and out, but he's still in P3 on the road at the moment. But everybody will be a bit on edge after we lost Francesconi. I'm almost certain with a disconnection because I didn't see any evidence of him going off at Maggots, Beckett's or Chapel there. Let's see if we can see a replay of it then while we are in this sort of holding pattern at the present moment. So here you go, Francesconi in the garage. What happened before he was in the garage? He was on the circuit, if I remember correctly, just in front of Francesco Grimalisi, his teammate, in P6 and behind Jack Mayer. Does seem like there we go. We can see what happened to Rokai a bit later as well, but here goes Francesconi. It does look like Rokai just came to a stop. Going through Maggots, Beckett's, and now through Chapel. He doesn't make it to the other side of Chapel. Yeah, oh, yeah, you saw almost the driver disappearing out of the car, followed by the car in just the space of a frame there. And this is Rokai near the back. It's clearly had another incident, checking the steering, and has decided it is not worth continuing, sadly. So big shame. Rokai's retirement streak continues. And let's hope race 2 is just a little bit kinder to him, as we now cut to Gazowski in P13. So what's happened to him? This must be the moment he had off track earlier. Oh, there we go. Him and Philip Koenig on the soft suckered into that. You saw Gonzalez Green had a little moment, and Gazowski and Koenig almost overreacted in response to that. So the softs hang on the front, but the rear is looking a bit cagey here. And speaking of cagey, we're now seeing Rozak getting defensive against Laho, which is sort of in turn sucking the rest of the pack together. So I think there's not so much a danger of Laho falling through the pack one by one as being picked off by DRS. I think there's more danger here of them all getting close to each other and making contact with one another if they're not careful here. So Laho's got the most to lose. He can't really risk a crazy overtake on Rozak unless he's absolutely sure he can pull it off. And here comes Zawinski giving James Knox a bit of hassle into Stowe, but a little bit too far back to get either side of that Croatian flag there.
Yeah, he's very considerate of his opponent so far. He doesn't need to throw himself into the attack. He'll just pick his moments when he sees fit. Very much in the holding pattern. Lap 10 is now in progress as Rozak crossed the line. 1:38.5, so an identical lap to Laho there. So these tyres are perhaps equal for this remaining lap, and then surely the softs, if my purely speculative guess is correct, someone will hit on lap 10 just to try and make sure those hard tyres will have plenty of engagement with the circuit. But now maybe Laho has his mojo back. He's almost threatening Rozak for position, and he's just going to peak on the outside before taking a tighter apex at Brooklyn's curve there before Luffield. So yeah, he's definitely more comfortable with the apex. He makes a bit of contact to the rear right tire of Rozak. So yeah, I think now Ed, those medium stripe tires, the harder of the two compounds available, it's definitely the better tire to be on now.
Yeah, you can feel Laho really being held up by Rozak at this point in the race. And he's got to be careful there because, as I said, he's got the most to lose and he's got James Knox behind. If he gets too separated from Rozak here, Knox will not hesitate to pick him off then. So Alex Laho, of course, those running a contra strategy, there's a risk that he's lost that track position of just getting into incidents there. So you could tell he was quicker at the sort of apex point there. He's diving up the inside into Stone. So too is Zawinski now on James Knox. So there we go. Crucial for Hugh performance. Now Laho's got his teammate back him up behind as diving into the pits comes Jack Mayer side by side. It looks like Knox isn't done yet. Zawinski though will be on the inside for the last couple of corners there. So attempt from James Knox to fight back, but Philip Zawinski, the Pole, who made this track his own in FS2, is now starting to do likewise in FS1, and you would think here he's being almost certainly going to be very, very careful not to disrupt Alex Laho here. There's Grimalizzi, the sole remaining HGP. All their hopes rest with the Italian squad now as he rams into the back of Knox there, such as his entry speed into the loop there.
Of course, yeah, that was very touch and go, but whether there would be any significant contact there. Thankfully it was avoided, but Laho will feel now it's his chance to springboard. Mayer will have certainly a delta for him now as he's rejoined from his pit stop way down in 20th, but that's certainly no time to panic. He will be able to pick up a lot of places when he closes the gap on some of the traffic. But Gonzalez Green wants to there's a swap of places there at an awkward time, and James Knox.
I think that might be Knox having more connection issues there. There we go.
Yeah,
because it briefly showed Grimalizzi and Watson ahead. But yeah, the interesting thing, Jack Mayer, we'll have to keep an eye on his lap times because the leaders, Rozak in the 38.4s at the moment on the softs, Laho in the 38.6s then, but also getting DRS from Rozak, who will almost certainly be thinking about pitting soon. Here comes Watson all over the back of Grimalizzi. We've seen Francesco Grimalizzi in the Academy Series defending well, and he's got to hold off one of the top drivers in Formula Sprint 1. Knox comes in, followed by, I believe, is that Grimalizzi as well?
Correct, yeah. They're both on the speed limiter in appropriate times. Yeah, they will be ahead on track for a little bit longer. Then the others get to respond on circuit. There we go. They should be all overtaking.
So this will be crucial to see if Knox comes out still ahead of Jack Mayer here. Mayer 48.0, sector 139.6 through sector 2, which is very impressive, quicker than the leaders by about 4 to 8 tenths.
Oh, that's going to be advantage.
Oh, what's happened here? Gazowski is in the, he's lost his front wing, so that's already going to be, I think he's been hit in the back. If he's had a, oh God, this is the last GPV race I commentated on. Super League in Imola had, unfortunately, a driver that hit another in the pit lane, as Carlos Martin will remember, not particularly fondly at all, if he's watching. So, there we go. What has happened to Gazowski here? He's about to come into the pit lane. He's been picked off by Alexander Gonzalez-Green and Cardas. Oh no, I think is Gonzalez-Green that got ahead of Cardas. So Gazowski pitting off of the softs with Koenig right behind him. Oh dear.
Burnout.
Victor Burnett coming in as well. So Gazowski goes in. Does he get hit in the back by Philip Koenig, I wonder? Koenig pulls into his slot. Oh no, it's Knox gets going on. Oh, he loses it under braking. Very unusual there, and the fuel equipment that's not used in GPV at all has swallowed up the front wing, which means the mechanics will have to quickly glue it back on with the quickest acting super glue known to mankind, as in comes Rozak, Savinsky, and Watson here. So Jack Mayer, by the way, did get out ahead of James Knox. Mayer, Knox, and Grimalizzi all setting purple middle sectors then. So this is going to be crucial with Rozak.
How important this will be. Waiting to see what the undercut effect is truly like. If we're going to see the potentia of Jack Mayer, fastest lap, in fact. So he's coming like a bolt of lightning in
there he is.
Unbelievable sunshine. He's ahead. Mayer has made that count, and he will now have to make this undercut really count, as of course he will be up to temperature with those tires. So he has a chance to pull a little bit further clear while he still has tire advantage. But later in the stint out, of course, he will have to conserve those tires with that longer life he's had to put into them. But yeah, excellent call from Mayer and Potentia to get him in on lap 10, and he has finally made that stick by making major places up.
13 laps to go, so we'll have to see if the soft tire has extended that first long enough, and how hard Mayer can push relative to Rozak and Savinsky behind. I think Savinsky is on the hard tyres, but it is showing him on softs at the moment, so I think that's a glitch on race view. Mayer, by the way, set at 137.128. Of course, with these stops, these drivers will get a big undercut on Lehoux unless he switches to the softs really early, in which case he would have to do some saving as well. So it's a bit of a tricky, awkward position for Lehoux now, because he's sort of not fighting his rivals for track position there, as we see 39.5, 39.4, 39.4 for Mayer, Rozak, and Savinsky behind, and already Rozak up the inside into so the DRS so powerful. In comes Flack and Cardas, respectively. So that's another 2 positions that these drivers behind are all going to gain here. But Lehoux up front, his last lap in 37.6, so he lost half a second to Jack Mayer, but now it's Rozak that will be the danger man once again, looking to get back into the lead once his pit stop cycle plays out.
Yeah, you look at the bottle of James Knox. He is the new fast lap holder for a brief moment, because Grimalizzi has taken that away. 136 with a spectacular middle sector helping him along his way. So now these tire changes are making a very impressive difference. But Patrick Roszak, he's not satisfied with just one overtake. He wants to pass Scott Flack as well. And
that's Riboli, Scott Flack's pit.
Riboli, beg your pardon. Excuse me. So yeah, he's passed Riboli, no problem at all. So
crucial for him, because Mayer's still stuck behind, going through Luffield as well. So he'll have to wait at least an extra corner, maybe a couple more, before he can get past the overpower then. And he's already up the inside end on the run into Copse then, and surely Riboli is not going to fight that one too hard. Indeed, he just briefly lifts off the throttle and lets the Potentia through. So Rozak then knows he's got to clear the traffic quickly, because that could be Lehoux's best hope of coming out ahead if Rozak has to hesitate before getting past, because these are all 4th position, but they are all on older hard tyres on the same strategy as Alex Lehoux, of course.
Yeah, and now Riboli gives up the inside line to Savinsky now. Should be a routine overtake. Oh, look at Knox coming through. Oh, that was courageous. I'm sure he had to plot that one out very late on and overpower.
And then Riboli pits anyway, so James didn't really need to do that. But fair play. He is really pushing it and putting on a show. As we see, Grimalizzi behind continues to be a little bit of a threat with a very decent lap to his name there. Let's see, Grimalizzi 37.0, 2/10 quicker than James Knox. But Patrick Rozak 36.7, by far the fastest. DRS, of course, helping him, but he's now 20.4 seconds off the lead here. So Lehoux, the question is, how many places will he lose when he goes onto the soft later on, and how quickly can he get them back? Because at the moment, I think he would currently come out maybe behind his teammate Savinsky. In between Savinsky and Knox, I think would be where he's currently projected to emerge.
Yeah, so he knows now that pit stop window should be about, as you say, at about 22 seconds. Karel Janovic, not so much of a concern as he's gone long himself on his same set of tires. Yeah, he wants the balance, about 10 laps at least on the soft tires to make them count for as long as possible without breaking them into severe, you put them into the severe window and the graining. It'd be severe graining on him. And Koenig going through Magnussen Beckett with a bit of bravery there. Oh, has he got it on Gonzalez Green? No, he actually doesn't. But it was in Gonzalez Green defense that held firm for there. And Damien Cardas, he's going to get a double slipstream, and he'll go straight down the inside. And it'll be tough now for Koenig to defend this one out. Let's see.
Yeah, of course, Alexander Gonzalez Green is stuck out on the same hard tyres that he started on, so he'll be looking a little bit vulnerable to Koenig, who's now on the soft. But here comes Cardas on his set of hard tyres, just about holding on and keeping Koenig. Oh no, Cardas is on the softs there, sorry, so Graceview is lying to me again. So there we go. I think all three of them may have pitted then. Of course, they've got to get to the end. They can't afford to fight too hard here. So there's little bits of dust being kicked up on the exit of farm there. But great overtake there from Damien Cardas, who is the fastest in this group, 38.1. Heljanovic is in the 38.6s. So he may be going a second lap slower than Laho, but he's got clear air. And that could do him well against the drivers that he was fighting with, specifically. Scott Flack, by the way, has now set the fastest lap, 136.1, and he's about 3 seconds behind Watson. Although Flack, on the same strategy as decided to switch to the softs very early by comparison, and that could help him. He may even be in range to undercut. We've seen James Knox is now 22.4 seconds behind Laho, so Laho is falling into more and more people's pit windows here the longer he extends.
Of course, yeah, very, very important now how these tires behave. And
he comes.
Yes, this is it now.
So if this is a decent stop, he might actually be able to rely on help from his teammate Zavinsky, who you would think, if he just has to pass maybe Jack Mayer and James Knox, Zavinsky wouldn't be as much of a roadblock to him. Softs coming on. Here comes Heljanovic, who's running longer than anybody else with 10 laps to go. Heljanovic knows, of course, he has to make a stop before the end of the race, so he won't try and no-stop the race. Patrick Rozak coming through now, and now Philip Zavinsky. So actually, this is a very, very quick stop. Through goes Zavinsky. There is Jack Mayer. Mayer's going to try and get to the outside, but he's going to fall just short of his championship rival. So this has worked out brilliantly for Alex Laho. Just 2 cars that he needs to overtake to win his 10th victory of the season.
And one of them will certainly obey team orders. Maybe.
Zavinsky's got to be careful. Here comes Mayer.
Oh, good opportunism there from Mayer, but these the contact with Knox's tyre. The Englishmen have collided, but thankfully they're both pointing in the right direction again. Hopefully that suspension on Knox's car is okay, but Grimaleezy has taken full advantage.
Here we go. So it was Zavinsky trying to almost block off Jack Mayer there, that backfired spectacularly for Mayer and for Knox, who sort of came on the scene with nowhere to go. Looks like the Bodal is okay, but yeah, Grimaleezy, the very fortunate beneficiary of 2 positions there. So here we go. That is Zavinsky lifting off, and you can see Jack Mayer opportunistically diving up the inside. Oh, and I think he loses the back end on his own and makes contact. You saw Knox really having to react very quickly and just making contact there with like the rear right tire, I think. And Grimaleezy only has to stick to the racing line and gain a position. But now Knox will be very much all over the back of, desperately trying to get back into what will be P4 now, as Heljanovic is our final driver to pit. And that's going to put him, I think, just outside the top 10 potentially.
Could be a bit of a dip now. See exactly how that goes for Antonio. Returning to the circuit in just a moment. We have James Knox. Got the fright of a lifetime there, seeing Mayer sideways for that moment. But yeah, thankfully, for the sake of the race, there was no contact between Zavinsky and Mayer. It's just a case where Mayer came in very aggressively into Brooklands, and then the understeer turned into oversteer in a rapid moment as the apex got a little bit too acute for him. And then eventually Knox would have that unavoidable situation, but at least everyone has seemingly got away with it.
So the bad news is Jack Mayer has gone from essentially P4 to P7, lost 3 positions. The good news is both him and Amari Watson are in now the reverse grid draw positions, and 6th through to 10th essentially. So it's very likely we could see one or both potentials benefiting quite immensely from that. Although still plenty of time in the race, but Watson is still not far off the back of James Knox, as you can see. And they've also got Scott Flack on his set of softs, who is lapping in the low 1 minute 37. Similar pace to Rozak, actually, although you would think Laho now on the freshest softs of anybody in the top 10 is going to be the major threat that we've got to look out for, as we see James Knox now desperately trying to think away back past Grimalizi. All these drivers on the hards, of course, so they'll be on the slower tyre, but they will have plenty of it to use in this particular stint then. As there we go, Laho's taken almost a second out of Patrick Rozak and got the gap down to just under half a second. In fact, he's right with him then as they come for Aintree, and I think even Patrick Rozak is going to be powerless to stop this one, Eoin.
I agree, Ed. This is inevitable. Rozak picks the inside line to defend.
Oh,
he's
gonna
aggressive.
try.
He really will try, but on corner exit, Laho into Luffield should have the advantage. Absolutely, and that is the game for Laho. He's got the match point, and he just needs to play the cards right and make sure he can win yet again after his brief holiday in Le Mans.
Yeah, you got to wonder though if that move from May had worked out on Savinsky, then Laho might not necessarily had the track all to himself, with Mayer maybe getting a bit of DRS out of that. So that collision with Savinsky has worked out very, very well for Laho, but also the strategy has put him in that position. He did such a great job in the first stint to not fall too far behind, essentially. And I also may have overestimated the pit stop time here, because they do cut out there. It's low speed, obviously 60 mile per hour rather than the usual 80, but they do cut out a fair chunk of the track with that move up the inside into the pit lane there. So 6 laps more to go after this one, and Alex Laho, now in a leading position, is already sprinting away, and he's probably not even going to look back now. 36.4 that last lap. Patrick Rozak 138.1 then. So really, the next fight we've got to look forward to, I think, is Knox versus Grimalizi, although, having said that, Heljanovic on his soft tyres is almost within a second of Menno Clont here. So, yeah, it could be a few late places gained from Heljanovic. Will be absolutely desperate to get Team Iris into play. He's got his teammate Philip Koenig also having a good race in P12 here, so it could be a very rare double point score for Team Iris today.
And how precious that would be as Alpha Sierra. They have Victor Bernat to consider in this fight with Raymond Van Soest handily enough, but it could be advantage to Van Soest if things go to plan here. It's a straight 1v1 fight here with DRS only to Van Soest. Now he picks his spot very late into the corner, the braking zone, and he is ahead. But into Luffield, he's got to stay well clear, because Bernat on exit could catch him up, but no, he has used every bit of the circuit, even a bit of gravel, and Van Soest is now sitting outside the points, hoping that a little piece of bread lands on his feet.
Yeah, Heljanovic just picked off Menno Clont in the foreground. We're watching that as the Bernat goes wide at Copse. But the other thing that's happening is Scott Flack is now right behind Jack Mayer after Mayer's spin and going up the inside. Flack is surely not going to back out of this one. Indeed, he does not. He's going to be on the outside, though, for Vale, and then into Club as well. Unless he goes really deep on the brakes to the outside, he's got a wheel alongside. Will that be enough for Scott Flack? The tail absolutely wagging the dog on Jack Mayer's car. He gets a horrible exit here, and they're being backed into Lucas Filin as well, who's another driver on the soft tyre here. So Scott Flack will have to be very, very brave to get through here, but will Lucas Filin take advantage of any hesitation here?
Yeah, that is Tylene special to wait for his moment to make the move. Oh, block from Mayer. That'll take a little bit of momentum off of Flack. And Tylene could say, yeah, this is my chance, rather than yours, Scott. Get out of the way. Oh, the door's left open. Mayer prefers the outside line late into the day.
Oh, he's got no grip on those hards.
No grip, no. That's
so
inevitable.
Flack, of course, though, these final 5 laps, his softs will not be in as good nick as, say, Filin, who pit, I think, a couple of laps later. Yeah, Filin pit end of lap 14, and I think actually only a lap earlier for lap 13 for Scott Flack as well. So they're pretty similar state at the moment. As you see, Mayer just maybe the hards after that half spin just completely overheating here, but Scott Flack has been bold enough to get through, and now it's Phelan will get a chance coming onto the hangar straight here as a lot of gravel and dust kicked up there by the Potentia GP. This is turning into a bit of a difficult home race for Jack Mayer. Up the inside goes Phelan into Stowe, and it is Mayer down to P9. Even Gonzalez Green now in these final few laps may fancy a run at him.
Now that would be a difficult reality to accept for Mayer at the moment, with 5 laps remaining for our race leader. Now all these drivers on screen with the 5 laps to go signal. Tylene definitely picking it up late in the day. Very quick, certainly in the last sector there with that overtake completed. He's going to fight with all he's got with Flack if he has something to say about that. So we'll see how those guys on the softer compound tyre will battle it out, see how they get on.
Yeah, problem is
though for Watson,
that those on the softs that pit lap 13, 14 or so, their time's starting to plateau. A lot of the hard tyre runners here, similar to what we sort of saw in the first stint, isn't it? Whereas Laho still in the sort of mid to high 136s at the moment, absolutely flying. 3 seconds now ahead of Patrick Rozak with 4 laps to go. It does like Heljanovic is now into P12 past Oliver Hargitay, who's another driver that's also on a similar strategy on the soft tyre, but I think Hargitay's softs, he pit on lap 14 as well, whereas Heljanovic's tyres are only about 4 laps old, having pit on lap 17, so may only be a couple of laps, but around Silverstone makes a big difference if you can get that tyre stint length. And of course, everybody going to race 2 will be eyeing that, wondering if maybe the softs are a viable tyre to try and win in our sprint race with the reverse grid in play for someone in our top 10 to top 6. As here comes Gonzalez Green, he's taking chunks out of Jack Mayer. He's going at the inside into Vale, and Mayer will have to drive a very wide potential here to hold on to P9, and I think Gonzalez Green could be getting very excited here.
Oh yeah, this will be a tremendous outing for Bodle as things stand, and it could get better with Gonzalez Green going head to head with Mayer. Called it Ed. It was definitely Gonzalez Green opportunity. He's almost ready to pounce, and yeah, this will be his opportunity out of Aintree just now. There we go. DRS will be wide open. Mayer, will he concede it? Yeah, he's just driving in the straight line, not attempting to defend the apex, and that is the overtake into Brooklands. AGG is P9.
Yeah, very clean, incisive move there. Meanwhile, Phelan in the DRS of Scott Flack is starting to slowly catch him here on this particular lap. 3/10 quicker through the first sector then. So if Gonzalez Green can get part of this battle, then P7 may well not be done and dusted just yet. Scott Flack was catching Watson by about 2/10 per lap now that he's got the clear air. But I don't think that's really going to be quick enough for 3 laps to go. Then he needs Watson or someone up ahead to make a mistake. James Knox still 8/10 behind Grimalizi, who is actually defending that 4th position very convincingly indeed. And certainly HGP need him to limit the damage here.
Yeah, HGP really do need Grimalizi to...
Especially with Potentia having a bad day.
Oh, there's debris in the background.
Someone lost the wheel. It's Bernat.
Oh,
there goes Victor Bernat.
Representation for Alpha Sierra. They're double DNFing today. That leaves us with 23 runners.
The big shame. Oh, he tried to do what we saw Scott Flack do in the warm-up and found there was a wall in the way. So, really unfortunate. You can tell he gets a bit of a slide off. He's pulling the outside, decides to bail out of it, and he realizes he's going into the wall far too late there to do anything about it at that point.
Goodness, yeah, that'll be a horror shunt if it were real life, but hopefully he'll be encouraged to try again in the reverse grid race, or reverse grid draw. So, yeah, heartbreak for Alpha Sierra. That's even worse news for their Teams Championship goals, thanks to a strong result for Team Iris. And of course, Scuderia Cap Clay, they aren't represented at all today. There's no Scuderia Cap Clay vehicle on circuit today, so that was a chance for Alpha Sierra perhaps to gain a few points and make that opportunity count, but they have to try again from the very back of the grid to stand any chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against Janovic maybe getting into Jack Mayer's top 10 position here, because he's catching Cardas fairly quickly, and Mayer continuing to lap in the sort of low to mid 138s then. So Janovic 136.6 that last lap around, and he's only about 3 or 4 seconds behind then. So there's every chance, if he can clear Cardas quickly, that Jack Mayer could be easy meat then. But Mayer will desperately try and defend with whatever's left of those overheating hearts that have been through enough punishment after that spin, really, and being picked off one by one. As we see Fylan desperately trying to do anything about Scott Flack here. He may have only a lap fresher tyres, but that could be crucial as we go into the penultimate lap here. And don't forget about Gonzalez Green, who is lapping 2 to 3 tenths quicker than the both of them and closing upon them at a rate of knots. As a result, then Fylan sets a personal best first sector of the race, 30.8, which is 4 tenths quicker than Scott Flack on this particular lap.
Oh, mostly most impressive there. And now it's a 31.0 this lap around. So they enter the old start finish straight, and definitely the opportunity for Tylene is building up. He's peaking at a very opportune time in his battle with Scott Flack. I think Watson, he's probably had the least eventful feature race of anybody in the top 10. He's just gotten on with the job, and unfortunately didn't really get to shine in that 5-way fight for glory. Yeah, Amari Watson, you've got to credit him in P6 as of right now. He's driven a very clean race. Oh, and Lucas went very hot there. Chapo Corner has perhaps punished him a little bit too much for his enthusiasm, and that could cost him badly, Ed. It would be a one-shot overtake situation, either into Brooklands or Stowe. He's got 2 chances.
Yeah, by the way, we've not talked about him much, but Filip Zawinski on course for his first podium, of course. There was that slightly controversial incident with Jack Mayer, of course. We're not going to comment too much either way on what's going to happen there. But Filip Zawinski, no doubt about his pace and the race he's driven. He has done an excellent job, and this could be a very deserving first podium. As you can see, Knox closing back in on Grimalizi. Maybe he's been keeping his hearts in check for this moment. Yo Sopanen says if Patrick Rozak would listen to Romanian music would guarantee him to finish the race faster. Well, anything's worth a shot, I think, at this rate, but 6 seconds down on the last lap, I don't think it's close enough, and neither is James Knox, who is frustratingly just out of arm's reach of Grimalizi here, who continues to defend fantastically well.
And Damien Cardas is in a fight with Janovic so far. That's going to be
through.
A close one. Yeah, he is through.
Ran outside as well. Great move.
Oh, brilliant, but Cardas won't. Oh, he's gone all the way. Oh, I've never seen that wood cut being cut so much like that. That is insane. But thankfully, he didn't cost himself. But definitely that suspension took a heavy hit. The fight for 7th place may be over. Scott Flack is defending pretty strongly. He's got half a second's worth of advantage as they're now through Chapel for the final time. Yeah, Flack has that gap. Laho is about to cross the line, so take it away, Ed.
Here we go, through the final corner, and Laho wins, picks up exactly where he left off. Another race 1 victory goes to him. That's 10 out of a possible 15 so far this season. Over the line comes Patrick Rozak, and for the first time, Filip Zawinski finishes on the podium on a very good first race for Hugh Performance. Francesco Grimalizi will be 4th. James Knox in his first appearance will take 5th. He'll feel that should have been his P4, I think. Amari Watson will take 6th. Flack on the alternate strategy takes P7 ahead of Lucas Fylan. Then it'll be Alexander Gonzalez-Green and Jack Mayer rounding out the top 10. So a very impressive display there, I think. Strategically, Hugh had all the angles covered. Adez Gazowski is going to finish just behind Remco Deseo, who I believe gets his best result of the season so far in P18. So a quietly impressive race for Remco.
Yeah, Remco will be thrilled that he's driven such a clean race there, getting a very impressive 18th place. Perseus Miram will cross the line 21st, which leaves Hoekstra with that 2-stop strategy. I suppose it was an enforced pit stop at the beginning. But yeah, Hoekstra will be our final classified finisher in this feature race. The sun is still blaring around Northamptonshire, and that will be a job for Hoekstra to think about now. He'll try again in the reverse grid race, I have no doubt in my mind. And there we go, he finishes the day, and yeah, it'll be a bit of a learning experience there, as he didn't really have a fair fight with too many drivers for the reasons that he required to pit. But yeah, it's back to the dominance of Le Hau. We had a little bit without it, but there we go. How on earth do you stop him, Ed? Is it even possible?
Well, I guess we'll find out in the reverse grid. Right? You start him further down the field and into the pack seems to be the answer there. But yeah, Rozak did pull a great move on Le Hau, but then Le Hau on the superior strategy gets had to sort of hold on and make sure that A, Rozak didn't pull too clear, and B, that he kept lapping the laps that he needed to, as he, I think does actually make contact with one of the overpowers there. That's the 25, so that must be Scott Flack then, that he's just given the old Alex Le Hau hello to. So, double podium again for the second time this season for Hugh Performance. Le Hau leading home Rozak and Philip Savinsky. Francisco Grimolisi gets his best result on debut in P4 ahead of James Knox on his debut. Amari Watson is 6th, Scott Flack 7th, Lucas Phelan 8th, Alexander Gonzalez Green from 12th on the grid gets to P9, and Jack Mayer, disappointing result for him, rounding out the top 10. Just missing out in the top 10 was Antonio Hiljanovic in a very good performance for the Irish driver. Damien Cardas finishes P12, Hargitai finally back in the points for the Hungarian in P13. Philip Koenig is 14th, getting more points for Iris, and then Menno Klont takes the final point for CM Tech Racing. Roman Van Sust was 16th, Massimiliano Ruboli was 17th, Remke Dese getting his best result of the season at 18th because all his other finishes were non-finishes, so this is his first finish of the season for him and Excelian. Mateusz Gazowski takes P in 19, and Michal Galka rounds out the top 20. Persis Miram and Vopke Hoekstra round out the finishes. Sadly, we lost both Alpha Sierras of Bernat and Rokai, as well as Francesconi, with a disconnection then. So, all things considered, the finishing order, pretty solid amount of finishes from starters compared to the usual Race 1 chaos. But yeah, Race 2 still to come on the other side of these advert breaks that we're just about to go to. So we'll have to see, can Le Hau double up, or will the likes of Amari Watson, Scott Flack, Lucas Tylen, Alexander Gonzalez Green, or Jack Mayer be able to take revenge come Race 2? Stay tuned and find out in a few short minutes' time.
Inside a place of... On the next pretzels. Kelty seed, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no!
No.
Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen.
Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, there's some carnage.
And Menno Klont's
Oh,
gonna
my
win!
It's a double pass! Could they take each other off? They don't! And Flack slide! It's a victory for the Tuties!
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through.
As they go uphill into turn 4. Oh, and round the outside. What a fabulous move!
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it.
We're going 3 wide. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh my goodness. Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out!
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Hello and welcome back to Silverstone. Well, another FS1 race, another Alex Laho Race 1 win. He has been pretty much unbeatable every time he has shown up, as you alluded to, Eoin, before the break. But we've got a reverse grid that is, a number has just been called, so it is certainly going to be a yellow car on pole position, but it's not Alex Laho this time, Eoin.
No, it's actually Scott Flack. So this time of the year in certain cycles, it would be Ashes cricket season. So definitely would be an interesting situation if it was summer Ashes series.
There's England versus New Zealand going on.
Yes,
test
indeed,
match.
yes, yes. But it's the Kiwis playing this time around. But yeah, it would be very interesting if
There's
it was.
Tom Savily when you need him. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, Aussie pride on pole with Scott Flack. So he has that pole position plus cooler temperatures to deal with. So we'll see how things pan out for him.
Yeah, and he was like Alex Laho, another driver that went for the contra strategy, starting on the hards and switching to softs midway through the race. So I do wonder, we got 17 lap sprint race. The softs were able to do 14, 13 laps for most of the field. How long Janovic, I think, definitely did about 16 laps in there. And I forget how many Laho did. I could just check my data from the first race to confirm. But certainly that puts us in a very interesting position. There we go. Oh, it's just showing 26 laps for Laho. It's not showing. It's showing that they made a pit stop, but they're not showing when they made the stop, sadly, which is profoundly unhelpful. So I'll just have to go from memory. But yeah, I think this could be a really interesting one because the softs can do the distance, yes, but the hards, by about lap 9, lap 10, look to be the better tyre.
Yeah, you better believe it. So that's the.
I do believe it.
Yeah. You better believe it. But anyway, yeah, that's the strategy dilemma. But it may not be as difficult as Montreal. That was a far more challenging race to call. You profited massively if you got it correct, and you suffered if you got it wrong. But yeah, in the pure sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. It really is a case of how on earth can you make the soft tires work, especially in a chasing pack. That'd be really difficult.
The other interesting thing as well, Eoin, is because it's a P7 reverse grid draw, Alex Laho, winner, and Scott Flack essentially swapped to either end of the top 7. That puts Laho just ahead of his old sparring partner, Lucas Tylin, who he's had a few altercations with in race 2s this season, most notably Jeddah and Montreal. So I don't think Tylin is going to be too pleased to see him again.
Maybe not, but we shall see if they can get along.
Let's hope so.
With the pressure building towards the second half of our season. We're almost there, beyond all doubt. So the excitement of crossing over to the second half of the season in 2 weeks' time will definitely motivate these drivers to have a great evening tonight. They've got to pick up as many points as they can.
Yeah, and a big opportunity for Scott Flack, who definitely not one of the luckiest drivers. I remember race 1 in Imola where he was fighting for the podium in the top 3 and then had that off that cost him big time. Lost his front wing, ended up with him fighting for the lower points and making his second race a lot harder than it needed to be. So this, a sort of inverse scenario, Flack, the Australian, with a brilliant opportunity to capitalise, but he is going to have, I think, Omari Watson alongside him on that front row then once we get going. So Watson in his home race, like Flack, another tyre whisperer who's very kind on his tyres when he needs to be. So this is the problem. If you go for the hards and go for the sort of conservative option, knowing you can make it to the end, you might just get absolutely leapfrogged for track position by those on the softs who may have just enough to defend in the closing laps then. So almost the temptation is for so many of them to go for the softs. You might only, I think, see people, maybe 1 or 2 in the top 10 go for the hards, and maybe those lower down playing it safe going for the hards. I think a lot of our front runners will go aggressive and will go softs here.
Practice, oh no, it was just a practice stop if anything there for Laho, I believe that was. So
trap temperature's gone up, by the way, 52.7 degrees. So it's not any colder than race 1. So the tyres will take another beating.
Yeah, goodness me, it just gets challenging and more challenging again for our drivers having to cope in these temperatures. But yeah, that gives perhaps someone perhaps outside our usual bubble, maybe they've got a chance to think outside the box and go for an audacious bid with tyre choice, and let's see if that pays off. As everybody is now reset to the grid, time is firmly up. We shall go racing in the sprint race. So join us in a moment with our transition to race 2.
Thank you very much, Eoin, and thank you very much, Fabian, for our pre-race bumper there. So, our second race of the evening, 17 laps to come here at Silverstone, and our top 3, we have the Australian Scott Flack and 2 British drivers behind him, Omari Watson and James Knox. Omari Watson looking for his first victory since Melbourne reverse grid, where he won from Alex Laho marginally. And then James Knox, of course, looking for himself and Bodle's first win. In fact, Knox will be feeling a bit unlucky not to finish on the podium in that first race of the day. So as our 24-car field takes to the formation lap, let's go through how they all line up then. It is Scott Flack and Omari Watson on the front row. James Knox and Francesco Grimolisi make up row 2. It's an all-rookie row 2 then. Philip Savinsky, fresh off his first podium, will line up in row 3 with Patrick Rozak alongside our race 1 winner and runaway championship leader Alex Laho lines up in 7th, just ahead of his bitter nemesis Lucas Tyler. Alexander Gonzalez-Green and Jack Mayer line up on row 5 with Antonio Hiljanovic and Damien Cardes on row 6. Let's see if Mayer can make his row through from 10th on the grid. Oliver Hargitay and Philip Koenig are on row 7, and then it is Menno Klont and Raymond Van Sust that consist of each other on row 8. Row 9 is Massimiliano Riboli ahead of the similar yellow car of Remco de Zeyer. Lines up P18. P19 is Matis Gazowski with Michel Gauka rounding out row 10 and the top 20. Row 11 is Perseus Miram and Vopke Hoekstra. Then we have Victor Bernat and Michael Francesconi bringing up the rear on row 12. So it does look like, sadly, we have lost James Rokai, who would have started P25, I believe.
That was unlucky for James Rokai there. Hopefully that'll just be a case of maybe he's in the chat there just to say what might have happened, but either way, hopefully that'll be all sorted for next time and we get to see more of James. Tierra.
We do see a comment from Waffle378 who says pedals and shifter disconnecting intermittently. So I don't know if that is James Rokai or that might be, that sounds more like Waffle is, I think, Vopke Hoekstra, isn't it? So that explains why he was quite a way down everybody else. It looked like, because he gained about 20 seconds on, I think, Miram near the back end of that race. So I think Hoekstra should hopefully have gotten on top of whatever issues he was suffering. Or it looked like Bernat was heading for the pit entry there. We've already lost one Alpha Sierra. We can't afford to lose the second before the race even starts. So here we go then. As I say, big opportunity for Overpower and Scott Flack. They haven't won since near the back end of last season, but Hungaroring has been Scott Flack's sole win so far. But he tends to do well in these reverse grid encounters. Have they gambled for the softs at the front, or will they play it cool and go for the hard tyres then? We find out in a few minutes' time. It's a very quick off. Lights already out, and the race has begun. It's a good getaway from Omari Watson, but not good enough to leapfrog Scott Flack for the lead into Farm. But look further back, James Knox under attack from Grimolisi. Knox fighting to hold on to P3 as it's free, almost 4 wide. Right behind them, Alex Laho and Savinsky really pushing forward. Savinsky up the inside of Grimolisi and Laho tangling with Lucas Tyler. This is what you feared might happen, and oh dear, is that Jack Mayer that's been caught up with Phelan there. Huge mess coming out of the loop and several drivers involved. Mayer is potentially out of the race already. In fact, he is very much out of the race. And look at this. Philip Savinsky and James Knox side by side. Savinsky trying to go the longest of long rounds through Lovefield. And it's the Hugh Performance driver that's going to stick on the outside here. They're going to go side by side on the run towards Copse Corner. Savinsky has got the better acceleration, and now he's got the line as well. Knox tucks him behind. So dream getaway for Watson, but absolute nightmare for Thailand and especially for Jack May. It looks like Hargitay, the other KKIs, also had the race as well.
Yeah, lots of trouble there at the beginning of the lap, and it has major title implications for the 2023 FS1 champion Jack Mayer. He is out of the race and he will lose potentially another 20 points, give or take, in this reverse grid race. So devastating stuff there, depending on how things go.
Remco in a battle with Ribali. Here we go, to the outside comes Remco De Zeo in the Excellion, trying to hold on to the final points paying position as somebody pits ahead of them. Interestingly, the Excellion not ready to back out. There's Ribali, spins up the rear tyres. Remco gratefully gets through, and there's the recovering Thailand as well. So Remco De Zeo into P13 on the hard tyres there. Scott Flack, though, on the softs, sets the fastest lap. So Knox and Grimalizi both on the hards, hoping the top three hit trouble and that they can keep Alex Laho and Alexander Gonzalez Green behind. But Ribali already diving up the inside, trying to make a counter move on Remco De Zeo there. Remco fending off the soft tire shot overpower as best he can, tries to push Ribali a little bit wide. And what's going on, Owen?
It's a 3 wide. I thought De Zeo was made the opportunity count against Ribali, but now it's Thailand making up the places again. That was brilliant work from Thailand. So big chance for De Zeo has ended up going totally against him. It's Thailand +2.
Well, who's also having things here against him is Gonzalez Green, who's dropped behind Laho. He was just behind Laho, and Rozak has picked him off in quick succession. So our 3 soft tire shod runners behind Knox and Grimalizi on the hards then. And it's saying question mark tires for Koenig, Kardas and Hiljanovic, who I believe are all on the softs as well, just inside the top 10 there. So very, very close between our top 3 then. Let's see if we can also get a replay of the start. Francesconi was the one who pit early doors, so I wonder if he had made a really good start, got up to sort of P12, P11, avoiding all the carnage in front of him. As we see all the 2 Irish cars together, and Hiljanovic almost gets pushed wide by Koenig there and loses a place to Kozlowski as a consequence there.
Just a tiny drop of the wheel there, and that was all she wrote in terms of his entry into the corner. Thankfully he could exit it. Just a bit slower, but here's Mayer on the outside.
Rozak gets caught up, and there we go. Rozak that actually tangles with, who also hits Thailand as well. So Rozak was sort of in the middle of both of them there. So Jack Mayer, I have to say, a bit of an innocent victim of that one.
Yeah, I agree. He just hung it around the outside, the only real place to go. There's more.
And that's how Hargitay got eliminated.
Yeah, that's Hargitay's tire gone, and Hoekstra, he does get around unscathed. But Berna, he will now retire from the race in the next clip, I'd say. And Francesconi.
Oh, the steering is damaged. I think he was the one that went under Hargitay potentially.
Oh, he takes Cobb's corner, okay. But now Maggotsson back, it's going to be too much. Yeah, it might just be a little bit too much. He's slowing down. Yeah,
Remco was about to pass him, so I think maybe he wanted to just avoid that. Not that that's humiliating in any way, because Remco, very, very tidy driver, and on that occasion with a much less damaged car. Remco now still holding on to the final point from Michel Galka further down the field, but here comes Savinsky, Amari Watson, the sole potentia left in the race. They came in today leading the team's championship. I suspect Pure in a very good position to leapfrog them, potentially. HTP now could be the big threats to them. Grimalizi, Grimalizi, much like the first race, the last HGP standing then. So Watson needs to hold on to this podium. It's absolutely critical that they don't lose further ground in that team's table. But Scott Flack, now that he's gapped Watson by just under 9/10, will be feeling very confident indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. The confidence will be radiating here.
So the hope, by the way, is past Grimalizi for P5. Fastest lap of the race.
Oh, trouble for Rozak. Is it another title contender in trouble? Yes, it is. He's in the gravel. This will be
come
the
to a
first
dead
sector.
stop.
He's out. Oh, this is unbelievable.
My goodness, they are starting to drop like flies, aren't they? It's all the race 2 chaos we've come to expect from FS1. But yeah, Rozak, was there a collision beforehand, or did he just have some kind of hardware issue? Either way, that's a bitter blow, having finished second in race number 1. All that ground he gained on Laho in the championship is going to come to absolutely nothing. So here's what happened. Through Farm and then into Village. He gets on the brakes, gets the turn in. Oh, there we go. it's almost the wheel failed or something because it was going all the way to the left there. So something very bizarre has happened to his hardware.
Yeah, that's perplexing. He's going to take the corner, and then it stops. The lock has just completely frozen on him. So, my goodness, Mayer is out, Hamming is absent, Rorschach is out, Tylene is struggling, trying to make up places, and Watson is the only driver. And of course, Scott Flack there, 6th and 7th in the championship, but Flack and Watson 1st and 2nd in this race. So they have a chance to make gains in the championship race. But in all honesty, Laho, even if he's not on the podium in this reverse grid draw, he is profiting massively.
Yeah, and he certainly looks a tenth quicker at the moment than James Knox, who's just a second up the road from him, as this is our top three. Then Savinski once more looking to bank the bottom step of the podium, and the pole has definitely kind of threatened to do this in Imola on a couple of occasions. Knox trying to keep him very honest, indeed looking for his first podium in his home event, then having been jumped by Savinski on the first lap here. But of course there's another huge performance of Laho that's coming from having picked off Grimalizi. Grimalizi, I think, would be very satisfied to finish in the top 6 in both races. But of course he's got to watch out for Gonzalez Green, who's not far behind. Koenig having held up Janovic. We've got both Team Iris cars in the top 10 as Remco De Zeo trying to hold on to that final point from no, he's trying to take 14th from Galka, and he's messed up the inside, and through goes Wopke Hoekstra into P15 there. So Remco a little bit ambitious there, tangling with Michel Galka.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate one, but again, it's a case where the circuit does lend itself to letting cars have space to rejoin. Of course, it hasn't been perfect for some of our drivers today, but yeah, there we go. Our attrition rate has picked up a little bit in this sprint race, with 5 DNFs confirmed, certainly high profile ones involved there. So it's all about these drivers who just want to pick up a point or two. They've got to stay very tidy, or else they won't get that chance to make huge inroads in the championship. I know, as I said, Cap Clay is one of the teams that have no cars running, so they leave 2 spots open for someone else to take.
Yeah, and we lost both Alfa Zeros already as well, and then, as you mentioned, Rosak Francesconi and Jack Mayer and Oliver Hargitay. So this battle particularly, there's big opportunities, but Remco, of course, looking for his first point as Wopke Hoekstra just gets a little bit sideways on the brakes there into the loop. So that will allow Michel Galka a little bit of breathing space. Galka potentially has got the pace to pull away from these two, but we've seen him make mistakes under pressure before. We don't know how damaged some of these cars and drivers are. Well, mainly the cars. I don't think the drivers are particularly damaged. They're in one piece, unless the heat's really getting to them that badly. As now we cut back to Savinski, who is making real inroads on Omari Watson here. So Scott Flack, I think, is enjoying things at the present moment. If Savinski jumps Watson and Laho comes into play as well, then I think we could have 3 yellow cars fighting for the win. And I think Flack would like it just to be the one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So the chance for Watson to make DRS push just to close the gap down. There's Knox having a...
it's been passed by Laho.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointment there. He has been passed, exactly. So that's an overtake for Laho. He's up to 4th position. And Knox has been taken away, or he has a position taken away, I should say. So there you go. Knox has been conquered there. So Laho, purple, 3rd sector.
But don't forget, Knox and Grimalizi both on the hard tyres here. So if the soft runners ahead of them start to hit trouble, Knox is ideally placed to strike back here. So no need to panic just yet for Bodel and or for James Knox fans indeed. But yeah, Laho then, knowing track position crucial at this stage, wants to catch up to his teammate. Will Savinski repeat what he did in the previous race and let Laho through? I think there's not really any tyre delta here, so they may actually just fight legitimately, especially with all of Laho's two of his main rivals that were within 60 points of him going into the first race, in the form of Mayer and Rosak, are both out of the picture entirely then. So Laho can sort of afford to just fight Savinski for position and not worry too much, even if Knox and Grimalizi both get back through here. So it's kind of there's not really a whole lot to lose for Laho here.
No, not at all. He really does have the handiest position of anybody. I know Fleck, Watson, and Cervinski would all dearly love to get winner's trophy to mark the end of the 50% mark of this season. Round 8 and 16, of course, are these two races in Silverstone. So chances for victory. Watson has won already, of course. Flack is probably the driver who feels like, yeah, I've been so unlucky at times. I'd love to even get a podium. That would be hugely beneficial to my season. And then Cervinski stepping up when the call was made there for Hugh performance, and he's helping his team out greatly in this moment in time.
Yeah, poor Flack, he's finished fourth 3 times this season, yet to place on the podium. This is his best chance yet, and yeah, certainly there have been woes in terms of strategy that have caught him out in the past, but Silverstone, one of his very best circuits, actually, it must be said, and Murray Watson at his home track doing his level best to keep him honest, but he has got quite the thorn in his side in the form of Philip Savinski, the Pole, who has made Silverstone a bit of his stomping ground in the past year or so as well. And of course, having dominated in FS2, he is Murray Watson, who competed in FS2 for a big chunk of last year as well, is being reminded of what some of the front runners can do there too. So Scott Flack, it's really a case of can he hold on under pressure, and can Murray Watson hold on to this P2 as well. If Philip Savinski decides to swap with Alex Laho, that could be really interesting here. But I don't think Philip Savinski's going to throw away the chance to get 2 podiums in a row here if it's on the table.
I would feel Hugh performance are comfortable enough holding on to Cervinski's podium at the moment. Laho doesn't have to make any swaps. I think it'd be fair enough to reward Philip for coming along and helping out the team.
It's interesting though, because look at this, the train for the top 5 are starting to congeal here. So James Knox on the hards isn't really being dropped by these guys as we go into lap 9 now. He's still well within the DRS of Laho, and Grimalizi maybe could get in range as well of DRS. So if these soft tire runners are starting to struggle, we see 37.0 for Flack, 37.0 for Watson matching him, or 37.4 for Watson, I should say. Savinski, I think, cut the track as well as Flack. And then we have Laho 137.2, Knox a slightly quicker 137.2, and Grimalizi 137.3 then. So we are reaching that crossover point, exactly the same point as we found it in race number 1 at this point in that first stint as well then. So the problem is here for James Knox, even if the hards become the better tyre, he's got to pass them one by one, and they're going to benefit from having the DRS from the driver in front here. So he needs something to happen up front between Watson, Flack, and Savinski.
Yeah, something has to change for the destiny of the race, in all honesty. Yeah, Scott Flack is currently controlling it. The gap's going to decrease in this DRS zone. Cervinski will benefit with the double. Laho will watch along, and he'll also gain. And then Knox himself just taking it easy. I didn't see the flap opening for him. But with the harder compound tire, he knows he can strike later into the stint. He has that possibility, but it's going to reduce as we now cross to lap 10. This is where, on higher fuel loads, the soft tires for Jack Mayer had cried enough. So we'll see how well everybody has been conducting themselves to make sure there is no graining on these softer tires for the first 4 drivers.
Yeah, 7 laps to go, of course, so that's the problem. And you're sort of so close to home, but you're not quite sure if the softs are going to hold on versus the hards. Of course, Hugh Performance ideally placed because they've got both cars to play with here. Savinski does not have a great run into Aintree then, so Alex Laho may try and do a legitimate move. Is this a defensive move from Savinski? No, he's letting him through. There we go. So they have Philip Savinski of his own accord, I think, has just decided he's not really got the tyre life to fight. He's going to try and fend off James Knox, who is potentially a bigger threat on the harder tyres at this phase of the race. So that's actually a very magnanimous decision by Philip Savinski then. And it releases Laho to challenge his old friend Murray Watson. We could see a rerun of Australia, this time with an Australian leading the way.
How about that now? Be very interesting to watch. But here's the thing now, it's Laho with the opportunity to work.
He's got to move on. He's pushed well clear now of Savinski, who may well try and hold up Knox for as long as he can here.
That's it now. Knox is the worst placed with Cervinski, who has definitely the encouragement to defend. He doesn't have to attack his teammate any longer. He can just defend that 4th position. But yeah, I suppose the needs for Laho were greater, and he's done his duty for the team. Watson's lap time there. It was an improvement on Flack, so 137.3 for Amari Watson, and Laho reacted well in the clearer air, not necessarily clean air. It's a 137.1 for the championship leader, and Flack just has to try and respond quickly, because that first sector of the 3 was his weakest.
Indeed, then, but of course he's not getting DRS, unlike all the cars behind him, so there's not a whole lot that Scott can do about that realistically. He's just got to hold on as best he can. And again, this is going to end one of 3 ways. Either Flack can hold on, which would be brilliant for him. Either Watson can make a move on him, you presume sort of into Stowe at the end of Hangar Straight, or maybe into the loop if he's feeling, or Brooklands if he's feeling really opportunistic. Or Watson is going to make a sort of... is going to mess up the move on Flack, essentially, and open the door for Laho to get past both of them. Laho, though, is going to fancy picking off Watson if he falls just a little bit too far back and doesn't nail his exits here. So Watson can't just rely on the DRS here, because Laho is very, very keen to take 2 wins in a row. He is very much... he may have been missing in Imola, but he's still addicted to that winning feeling, isn't he? And he's not about to let Flack or Watson steal it away from him if he can help it.
Certainly not, no. He
Cardas and Heldranovic fighting for P9 in the background. Looks like Cardas just holding on there through Stowe and into the Vale.
Yeah, Gallery 82 are jumping for joy with both cars in the points at the moment. They'll be praying this form carries on. Very solid midfield team are Gallery 82, so if they can break the 100 points barrier soon enough, then that will be a fine showing for them so far this season. They're capable of podiums, of course, but the job of getting consistent points has proven elusive. It's been a while since they've had everybody in the points, or at least one car in the points. So great run for Cardas, who has picked up all the team's points so far. And Galka will be off the mark if he can hang on to 15th. Has a healthy lead over Miram, I believe.
Yeah, of course, we did see Galka fighting with Hoekstra earlier. Hoekstra has gotten back through, and sadly, was Remco that was fighting with these 2 early on. He was losing ground. He was about 7 seconds behind them, and now he's had, I think, an incident, a big spin.
Yeah,
that's put him to the back. He pit, so he's gone to the back of the field then. So Remco going for soft tyres for the final stint, but sadly, it'll be another 18th place position, but this time it will be at the back of the field, unless somebody ahead of him also hits trouble in his final 5 laps. Back at the front, though, Watson closer to the back of Scott Flack, but not close enough. Flack has just enough in hand, and with Watson not being able to capitalize on that move there, it puts him back into the clutches of Alex Laho. Will not need encouragement. The thing is, with Laho, almost in a there's no risk scenario, and instead of playing it safe, he might just go for it here.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. A podium is at stake here for Flack. He's been desperately craving one. Yeah, that's exactly it. He's got to definitely show why he is one of our star drivers in FS1. It's not been the case on the podium sake, the prize giving ceremonies. So Laho, has he got his chance against Watson? A redo of the sprint race in Australia. Down the inside, and it's a clean pass. The championship leader rises again, and this means that Flack has 4.5 laps to pull off what very few have managed to do in 2026.
I think Watson's been burning up his tyres trying to chase down Flack here, whereas Laho played it a bit smarter, and he's kept the softs in better nick. You can see James Knox right at the back of this train waiting to pick off Savinski and maybe Watson as well if either of them really start to struggle here. So again, now Scott Flack has got to do it all on his own against the championship leader if he wants to win this one here. And Scott Flack has certainly been pacing himself well, but now he is almost certainly a sitting duck here to Alex Lahoden, who's getting close and close at the end of the Hangar Street. You can see Watson weaving to try and keep Savinski behind, but you saw as well there, Loho getting very close on the outside. They're trying to force Scott Flack into a mistake through Stowe. Flack just about holding on now, trying to back Loho back into the clutches of Watson here. So a very, very tense battle. Lap 14 of 17 about to begin. Flack has just got to hold on, but it's much easier said than done there. Now Knox is looking to the outside into turn one. That's a very risky move, and indeed James knows it and decides he is not going to try and pull that one off. Oh, a little bit of a massive twitch as he goes towards the braking zone of the loop, and now coming through Aintree. They go. Loho very, very close to the back of Flack now.
Oh yeah, Loho is so close. Is he even ahead? Just
going to the outside.
Side by side. Does he have the nose in front? He will have it in front. He cuts into the apex, and he has given over power. What for? He has taken the lead, and he's going for yet another sweep. It is unbelievable stuff from Alex Loho, and he's pulled incredibly far clear in just Luffield to Woodcut on its own.
Yeah, I mean, it would be unbelievable if it wasn't Alex Loho doing it, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
I suppose.
one of his very favourite tracks, well, Alex Loho just waited patiently for his moment. Savinsky led him through, and then he picked off Watson and Flack in fairly quick succession there. So now it's just a matter of coasting at home, keeping the softs alive then, and Scott Flack will hope to use the DRS to stay in range, but you would think now with the pace that Loho's got, Flack has got quite the tough job now just to keep Watson behind and hold on to second position here. And Knox, meanwhile, not really making the inroads that I think he would have hoped to at this point.
Now this is a bit of concern now. Knox has lost track of Servinski.
In fact, he's been backed into Grimalizi, Gonzalez Green, his teammate, and Koenig here.
It's a major time loss for Knox, a 138.7 compared to Grimalizi's 137.9. That's 8/10 that has gone in favour of HGP, who know that Francesconi's out of the race this time. So Grimalizi is carrying that flag again for HGP, and he's got to give them something to think about, as of course Hugh performance, and with Watson by himself as well, this will be a terrible evening's racing for HGP for the sake of the team's championship. But Watson, it could really come down to the bitter end here. Servinski has confidence, Ed, and he wants that double podium.
Yeah, well, he played the team game earlier, and now he hopes to pick up the pieces here. So Watson got very, very close to the back of Scott Flack into Brooklands here. So it's a question of how much tyre life have either Flack or Watson got here. And Savinsky again has played it quite smart, much like his teammate. You saw into Cops there, a little bit of hesitancy on turning there for Scott Flack. And I think leading out front for so long, he has really had to push the tyres quite hard now. They've just got to hold on for another few laps here. James Knox, by the way, lapping about 4/10 quicker than Savinsky and 3/10 quicker than Watson in front of him, but slower than Flack, who is now dropping well outside of DRS zone. So this will be Watson's best chance this next lap around, I think.
Yeah, the right timing, of course. Yeah, to have that hunter instead of hunted philosophy could definitely pay off. Oh, look at this. Alex Gonzalez Green stuck in the middle there with Philip
Stuck in the gravel
Koenig.
almost, yeah.
He's Philip on an absolute charge today, is Philip Koenig. So he has taken delight to see his teammate Earl Janovic driving so well. He's doing a splendid job, and Gonzalez Green is the one who's in this awkward spot, but he was quick on that last lap. Grimalizi lost some of his time, but Koenig is definitely one of those unsung heroes today. This is a heck of a performance for Team Iris as a collective, but of course Koenig, he has so much bad luck, and here's a chance for Watson, as a matter of fact, to get his pass on Flack done. It's denied so far.
Yeah, there we go. Flack knew he'd have the inside line, but has he got the exit here as they go towards Cops? Amari Watson, is he going to risk it round the outside in his home race? Of course he's going to give it a go. Full confidence, but it is Scott Flack that dives in, hopes that the overpower will hold on exit. Luckily for him, it does, and he's just got to hold on for one more lap, but with both of the cars behind getting DRS, he'd surely be defenseless unless the Australian finds some magic grip somewhere out there. Savinsky goes a little wide out of Chapel, so Watson has got Flack all to himself on the run up to Stowe.
Yeah, the dirty air has cost Savinsky a little bit, and Watson, he has the last two chances coming. Lap 17 will begin for Laho in just a moment, so that'll be the last lap. Watson, you can see how much this race means to him. He wants to get that second place, the best possible result today. Gonzalez Green, of course, also going for it. He knows the chance to lose some points to Flack seems inevitable, but if he can at least close the gap a little bit, get behind his teammate, that would help him out somewhat. But here's Amari, second to last opportunity on DRS. It's coming thick and fast. He has to be absolutely spot on from the loop. And Aintree into DRS, and look at Grimaleezy. He is really under pressure now.
Yeah, surely Gonzalez Green is going to get a great run. How close is Watson? He's not close enough to Flack going through Brooklands then, so it's got to be down Hanger Straight. But look at Gonzalez Green to the outside of Grimaleezy. He's surely not far enough alongside to pull that one off. And AGG has to be circumspect here. Loads of points up for grabs for Bodal, but he taps the inside. There's also gravel being kicked up further up the road. I think that was Savinsky, who's now second behind Watson. Just getting his exit wrong there. So now it is purely down to Flack versus Watson in the fight for P2, but Laho, he's looking good for win number 11 up the road, and he has been absolutely sublime strategically. He's played it smarter than anybody today, and he's been aggressive when he's needed to be. Watson, final opportunity to get a run on Scott Flack. Surely he's too far back, Eoin.
I've taken a miracle here to do it legally. He could, of course, take the high road and use the runoff. It won't happen, though. That's Scott Flack. He should have it made now. The final chicane, but Alex Laho crosses the line just in this next frame. There it is, right on cue. There it is for Alex Laho. The dominance in
very close to the final corner. Watson, friend to put his front wing up the inside, but he will have to settle for third. It's a first podium for Scott Flack after a brilliant defensive drive. And they both come home to beat Savinsky, Knox, and Gonzalez Green, who did get past Grimaleezy on the run into Stowe there as well. Here's Vopke Hoekstra trying to take 13th place away from Ribbley, but precious points for CM Tech here in the form of Hoekstra.
Yeah, that'll be 2 points for Vopke. He nearly got it, though. Very close.
But with the finish line a couple of meters up the road, Vopke would have had that 13th.
Yeah, the unusual finish line placement there on the front straight there, just not helping him out. Yeah, the Hamilton straight, of course. So Perseus Miram, we watched him by his lonesome in race 1. He crossed the line 16th, so he just misses out on a score. Raymond Van Sust, not quite his evening either. He will finish 17th, and that will leave Remco Dezeu, who had to pit just about a 50% distance in this race. It's a long stop, so that means he'll have to settle for being pretty much 75 seconds down or something like that. It's been a long race for Remco, but P18 amongst all the chaos. But congratulations to Alex Laho again. It's just absolutely sublime racing from him today, as he dominated from the pole using that speed that he has. But in race 2, you have to work for it on the reverse grid draw, and he certainly did it. That was just excellence yet again.
Yeah, well, we made a big deal about Patrick Rozak taking 50 points out of him in Imola, and today he's gained a full, almost a full 20, half of that back over the course of both races then. So the confirmation then, Laho takes win number 11. As you say, very little's been able to stop him this season. You sort of have to almost take him out of the equation entirely to stop him, which is quite extreme to do. They don't hold the 24 Hours of Le Mans every weekend, sadly, for his opponents. Scott Flack, yes, there was the luck of the draw of the reverse grid, but he absolutely capitalized. He could not hold back Laho, but he does take the runners-up spot, so I think that's going to be a very happy Scott Flack in his best results of the season so far. Omari Watson back on the podium after a bit of an absence in the last couple of rounds. His last podium was race 2 in Bahrain, which was a while ago, of course, in round 3 of the season. So this puts championship into a very interesting position. Philip Savinsky backing up Alex Laho, his teammate, to take P4. So Q Performance very much back on top, ahead of Potentia in the team standings. Also great points in the team stable for James Knox in 5th for the second race in a row, frustratingly for him on the hards, and Alexander Gonzalez Green, who climbed up to 6th in the end with a great pass on Grimaleezy. We just saw it in the background there. Grimaleezy in HGP, having to settle for 7th. Philip Koenig, a great performance, as you rightly point out, to take P8 ahead of Damien Cardes. And Lucas Feilin, who actually did pass for P10 right at the end there on Antonio Heljanovic. So Feilin, involved in the first lap chaos, going from pretty much dead last to P10, was a great recovery drive. Matthias Gazowski takes P12 to get more crucial points for Emerald Hummingbird. Then it is Massimiliano Riboli on a good day for Overpower, taking P13. Vopke Hoekstra takes 2 points for P14. Michel Garca takes the final point for 15th. Percy Smiram will miss out by about 17 seconds in P16. Francis is going to come home in 17th. Remco De Seo matches his best result in P18. But sadly, Menno Klont and Patrick Rozak did not get to the end. Didn't quite see what happened to Menno, but Patrick Rozak just coming to a dead halt at the first corner, essentially, or third corner, I should say. Francesconi involved in the chaos at the start, which bent his steering, and that chaos also eliminated Victor Bernat, Oliver Hargitay, and Jack Mayer as well. Bit of disappointment for Jack Mayer. No points in either race. Oh, no, he did finish P10, didn't he, in the first race, but still a disappointing day for him in his home race, which means he is going to lose second in the championship, at least to Rozak. Potentially Feilin and Gonzalez Green will close up a lot as well. So then, that concludes the on-track action. We've got one driver waiting to be interviewed at the moment. It is Filip Savinski. After P3 and P4, he's going to be in a pretty good mood, I imagine.
100%, yeah. That was a tremendous showing for him, making the step up to your performance. So let's have a chat.
So we're now joined by Poland's very own Filip Savinski. Filip, it's been a good week for you, winning in FS2 on the podium in race 1 and then holding on to P4 in race 2. How do you find that one?
Oh yeah, this was insane today. I didn't expect myself to get on the podium today. Like, I thought with if Imola, this was like my best possible results with the level of the grid, but today I outperformed myself, to be honest.
Yeah, third on the grid in qualifying, and then
Fourth
it was. Yeah, sorry, it was Knox, wasn't it? It was fifth. James will kill me for that one. But then having to, on the different strategy to your teammate Laho, you ended up letting him through. Talk us through that moment with the contact with Jack Mayer as well, which obviously wasn't intentional there. Looked like a bit of a hairy moment for you. You wanted to let Alex through without letting Jack slip up the inside as well.
I mean, yeah, this was basically as you described. I was just trying to let Alex through because I knew he was on a better strategy, let's say, with the softs at the end. And from what I heard from my engineer, that Jack was oversteering before he touched with me, so not
It
really,
did look
like,
that way,
probably
yes.
probably his fault for this contact. Luckily, it didn't end in a bigger collision behind.
No, the James Knox did get delayed, and Grimmelisi
Well, yeah,
did get
but
past him,
it didn't. It didn't
That's
end
only
up in,
James,
like,
right? So,
It didn't end up in a tire loss.
yeah, they say that from the start of race 2, I'm afraid, so, which is quite chaotic. But behind you, I think, rather than you wouldn't have seen most of it at the time. Then, talk us through race 2. Then you were made a good start to get past James onto the bottom step of the podium, and then you and Alex on the same strategy this time. You decided to let him through. Was that your decision in the end?
I mean, we discussed it during the race, and we decided that it's probably better for him to go by because, like, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just,
It is very hot.
I knew it's better if I let him pass because he had better tire wear and better pace.
Okay, that's very humble of you to say, Philip. And you can talk to Alex later on as well. Is there any... Eoin, is there anything you want to ask our newest podium finisher in FS1?
Yeah, sure thing. Philip, how is your schedule looking for 2 weeks' time for the Belgian Grand Prix? Do you have any confirmed dates that you have sorted, or will we see you again?
I mean, I'm definitely doing FS2. And FS1, probably not. I want to save my 2 emergency races for Monza and Interlagos because I feel that I'm going to do good there.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very specific. So yeah, that's great information, and congratulations on a very impressive 2 different events for you, Philip. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, then, as we let Philip Savinsky celebrate that race 1 podium and a great result for the Hugh Performance team, who are now very much looking like they may be back on top in the team's championship. Let's hear it from another team, Boulder Racing. We've got Lorenzo Terovich and James Knox chomping at the bit to talk to us. So Lorenzo and James join us now. 5th in both races for you, James, and 3rd on the grid as well in qualifying. It was a pretty impressive display for your first FS1 showing of the season. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I mean, I haven't driven the car since pre-season, so obviously, I mean, I only started driving it yesterday evening, so it was a big learning curve. So I wasn't really expecting too much. Hopefully, getting some points for the squad. Obviously, while James Juba has his force feedback issue. So yeah, I qualified 3rd, and then the race went all right. But I think the thing is I'm not very great with my tyres, you see. So I chewed through those like no man's business, and unfortunately, towards the end of my stint, I did drop in pace. But no, had some nice bun battles. Alex Lahu was basically impossible to keep up with today, but that's expected. And then, yeah, I think as a team we scored some solid points, and hopefully we can build on that. I mean, obviously I'm not driving anymore, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, hopefully
maybe if needed,
Lorenzo can build more on that after.
Yeah, certainly Bodal consolidating that 4th position in the team's table, with I think Emerald Hummingbird having especially issues with Rozak in race 2 there, so that's definitely going to help Bodal's cause on that front. Lorenzo, it seems you have multiple drivers named James to pick from in your race lineup that are pretty solid. How do you feel about that one?
Pretty, yeah, very satisfied. Obviously, not the win I was touting will be going for after what was it, Imola, but I think, you know, given the context of, you know, the round and the obviously delivery as well, I think that this is, you know, not as good as it would get, but it feels equally as good as if we had gotten the win. And yeah, I'm obviously very happy and proud with Alex and James, obviously James Knox in this case, even though James Juba was also there today as race engineer for this round.
Oh,
well,
that's
he
nice.
managed to figure out why his Fanatec has decided to crap itself, for lack of a better wording.
I think there was better wording, but never mind. Available, but anyway,
There was also ruder wording.
It was, yes. I suppose you should be just thankful that you don't get the entire stream demonetized in the next couple of seconds. So yes, I wonder why we let them do interviews at all, because clearly we can't trust anyone. But anyway, you're right, Lorenzo. It is kind of comforting that for Bodal Racing Team, these sort of top 6, top 7 sort of regular points finishes are kind of routine and almost expected at this point. It really shows the progress made by yourself and indeed the drivers. Of course, Alex having a tougher time in qualifying, but coming through into the top 10 quite solidly in both races, particularly in that final one. He made a great move right at the end on Grimmelise.
Yeah, there's obviously I think for Alex, not just this season but in past seasons as well, is he's not that consistently well off in qualifying. He has great qualifying sessions. Imola was a very good example of that. But then he's got qualifying sessions like, I think it was Suzuka or Bahrain, where he qualified outside the top 20. So he's definitely got, despite him not feeling that way, the one lap pace to, you know, qualify consistently in the top 10 in FS1. But he simply doesn't have the consistency for that yet. But in the races, obviously, compared to last year, I won't say a massive improvement, because that potential was there last year as well. But now there's got someone to work with on a consistent basis, to get tips from, to learn the car from. he's finally flourished, and I think deservedly so as well. And I think where he's in the standings right now, at least before Silverstone, where was he, 6th? I think that's fairly representative of where he belongs in the series.
Yep, indeed, and there could be more positions up for grabs as well, especially because Frank Hamming wasn't here today, so you never know where Alex might end up by the end of the season if he keeps performing as he has. But anyway, Owen, any final question before we let James and Lorenzo go?
Yeah, I'll propose this one to James, if I may. So, James, you're like Philip. You have the experience from FS2 on Tuesday on Supreme Form at home. So, was there anything that you learned from Tuesday that you brought to tonight's racing?
Not particularly, to be honest. I think the cars. I mean, obviously, other than knowing the track, but I mean, who doesn't know Silverstone, right? I think the way you drive these cars is so different. I couldn't adapt to that as well as Philip could. Philip did a stellar job today as well. P3 and P4 for Hugh Performance. But yeah, it was, for me, they're two very different cars. And I couldn't manage the tyres as well as I could have done, because in FS2 you can sort of be a little bit more rugged, let's say, with the steering, and aggressive, whereas in SL1, no way, FS1, you've got to be just a lot more relaxed with the steering, and that's something I've, when I'm battling within the car, it's quite hard to get that balance. But I haven't got the experience in FS1 really to know my way around the tyre model just yet. But yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. I can see the clickbait headlines now. James Knox, team principal of FS2 team, says FS2 is a waste of time for FS1 drivers. Nah, just kidding.
No.
Yeah, who would enter an FS2 team? Well, who would do anything like that? All right, says another FS2 team. But anyway,
that's why I entered FS1.
Indeed, yeah. Right, well, thank you very much for doing this. Congrats on the great point score, and let's hope we see you again sometime soon, James. And best of luck for the rest of your FS2 season as well, and for the rest of your FS1 season, Lorenzo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, since he's in Australia, let's not keep him waiting any longer. Let's get a man after his first long-awaited first podium of the season in race 2. Let's hear the thoughts of Scott Flack, who joins us now from the Overpower team. Scott, congratulations, a very solid race on an alternate strategy in race number 1 to get to P7. The reverse grid draw finally goes your way, and you took full advantage of it. You couldn't quite keep Laho behind, but you definitely held your own against Amari Watson, Philip Zavinsky, and a whole train of cars there. So a very tense ending. You hold on to P2, and it's your first podium in nearly a year. So hard fought, well deserved after so much bad luck. Tell us how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, pretty happy with the second race, considering I felt like I didn't have the pace here for this round. Struggled a bit getting a set up and just couldn't get consistency with it. And then that first race, actually, I thought it was going pretty well on the alternate strategy. I didn't think the guys were getting too far ahead, and I was keeping cars behind. But then I think Thailand must have been on the hard tyres as well in the end. And then when I switched to softs, I started catching him, but the rate of catching slowed down quite quickly, actually, and it was only like a few tenths a lap once I got past Amari.
I think Thailand was on the softs. He pit the lap after you, I think.
Okay.
Unless I'm remembering wrong. Oh, no,
yeah,
you went hard soft, both of you, yes.
Yeah, he pitted the lap after me, so I got a bit of a breathing space for a few laps until he caught me when I got, I think it was Jack I was battling with for a few laps.
Yeah, and there was a chaotic stop behind you in race number 2, but you really had spent most of the race with your arms full of Omari, and then all of a sudden Hugh Performance decided to bring Alex forward, and he picks off you and Omari in reverse order in quick succession. Then was there any part of you that felt a bit frustrated, or did you think Alex was just untouchable today?
Well, he's pretty much always untouchable, to be honest, but my goal at the start of the race was to keep a DRS train so that he would have trouble getting past people and have to use up more of his tires or just be stuck. But obviously it didn't work because he got his way through, and as soon as he got past Amari, I knew he was going to get me. I tried to defend a little bit, but he just had so much more speed, it was just impossible.
Yeah, well, The good news is, I believe you're right behind Amari in the driver standings in the battle for P7, and you're ahead of Michael Francesconi now after 2 absolutely nightmare races for poor Michael. Oh, and any questions for the man whose luck finally turned around today after a brilliant performance, especially in race 2 there?
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, my question is a pretty simple one. How do you comment on your battle with Amari in race 2 at the end there? It looked absolutely intense watching on from here.
Yeah, I need one of those cooling seats because I was sweating buckets for the last 3 laps with him right on me. I felt comfortable in the first stage of the race with him behind me. I felt like I could keep him just enough arm's length that he wouldn't really get a run. But those last 3 laps after Alex got past me, I was like, oh crap, he's got more tyres or more speed suddenly. He's all over me. So just had to keep placing the car kind of a bit towards the middle of the track and making it difficult for him.
Well, that you did, and you've also made. I suppose we can get a C word in. We let Lorenzo off, so let's let Scott off as well, particularly considering the heat. So, yeah, I think that's all from us, Scott. We're delighted to see you back on the podium, back where you belong, and yeah, best of luck to yourself and Overpower for the rest of the season. I'm sure this second half is going to be much more to your liking.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, one driver left to talk to, and who else but Alex Laho? Let's drag him in, Eoin. So, Alex Laho joins us now in the interview. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Alex, but yeah, as business resumed, business as usual, I guess. 2 wins on the bounce. That's wins 10 and 11 of the season then. Pole position, brilliant strategy in race 1, and you were able to come out in 3rd. Your teammate got out of the way, relatively trouble-free for you, and then Patrick Rozak was kind of easy pickings at the end there. So really it was 2 performances where you just outsmarted everybody, had the best tyres at the end, and made the moves when it mattered.
Yep, hello guys, good evening. Yeah, I guess, I mean, it was a bit of an eventful race actually. Quali, no comment. I just knew the pace was there. The strategy on the starting on the hards in race 1 was decided in the warm-up. I noticed that the pace was actually really good on the hards compared to people on softs. So I decided to follow suit. Starting on the hards, I kept the position for like the first 2 or 3 laps, which was eventually a bit crucial. I mean, it didn't matter in the end, but it was it helped my strategy. And then I figured I could just keep up to his DRS behind, so it didn't matter anyway. We had an incident on lap 8 that the stream did not catch. I went sideways actually on the left before the field. We had contact and I was like sideways.
Okay.
Yeah. And the lap later on the hairpin on the right, we tapped. But that's fine. No major thing otherwise. Just following to my strategy, pitting on lap 16, pushing on the softs, picking up Rozak at the end, and that was it for race 1. And as for race 2, I guess I'm a tower merchant, man. I don't know what to say.
I'm surprised you didn't mention anything about the start. It was a chaotic sandwiching. Poor Jack was the victim of Phylon as well.
I did not see what happened to Jack, which is unfortunate. I'm sorry for him that his race ended this way. I saw he had a spin in race 1 as well, when trying to follow me into doing the move on Philip. He had overstay on the brake and lost it, and then hit Philip, I think.
Knox, I think he just had the tag.
Yeah, Knox was trying to avoid him and
Damn.
just tapped the rear tyre, I think, or something, and that let Grimalizi through. So Knox did lose 1 position, but it could have been a lot worse, I think, as Philip Sabinsky quite rightly pointed out.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse. It's not always a great stewards defense. Just a word.
Could have been a lot worse. Can be said many times.
Yeah. Well, it couldn't have been any better for you today, though. I think that's fair to say.
True. Both. I think I had like both fastest laps today, both wins, but I did not lead every single lap. So unfortunate. We'll try next round.
True. Well, it's hard to lead every lap when you start 7th in the reverse grid race.
No. We just cut turn 1 and ignore the penalty.
You needed Scott to slow them down a lot more than he did.
True,
true. He was very much talking about how he was trying to use the DRS train to make it harder for you to get through, essentially. And in the end, it was your teammate Philippe that got you onto the podium in that second race, and from there, you were just absolute dynamite.
Yeah, they were not running at the pace I was expecting, so saving tires was very easy. And at the end, I just had so much better tires than these people ahead of me, so picking them apart one by one, even if they had DRS. That's what I did to Omari. Dive down the inside of Brooklands,
Brooklands, yes.
Brooklands, yeah.
Overtake for P2, and then Scott. Yeah. I don't think I have to say anything. Poor Scott.
Brooklyn is in New York, by the way, so, totally different country.
True. That's not the right country.
Yeah, shout out to Alex,
We do have a USDP,
hooligans
though.
in Brooklyn.
We do have a USDP, though.
We do, but that's a bit later. Yeah, we have to wait until a bit later in the season. I think it's after Monza, so yeah, 4 or 5 rounds time, as we are definitely at the halfway point in the season. You'll be pleased to know, by the way, Team Hugh Performance back on top, I believe, in the Teams Championship ahead of potential after that one, provisionally, provided all the results stand, of course. But yeah, certainly the 2 wins were a big help, but Philippe also a big part of that as well. So I think
yeah, Philippe,
two happy drivers and one very, very happy team owner as well, Alex. So, any questions, Eoin, to our dominant man who now we got him back, he can't stop winning again.
Yeah, there was just a brief time without you, Alex, but the Belgian Grand Prix is next on the agenda. So how do you feel about that one?
I feel spontastic. That's not a word. I tried something that was terrible.
You sound like me and Colin.
Yeah, I would rather have Lorenzo than you.
Ooh.
Ooh. No, but,
I seem to be dragged back into doing Super League, and you seem to be dragged into it as well, Alex. So seems where you go, I go, or you seem to go to the places that I'm already at, more accurately.
True, you're just everywhere. No, but for Spa, I usually have a good record there, so I'm very good at. I guess I would sweat a bit more. Well, I couldn't last this week because of the heat wave that struck France. So 3 temps, like, more now. What do you want me to do? Drive? Nah. Today and yesterday was painful.
Help me some exhaustion.
Actually, like end of race 1 up until the end of 2, there was a massive storm just like next to the window. My internet connection.
Oh wow! Don't tell Scott that.
Maggio internet.
Oh god, Scott will feel it. There was a win there. If only the lightning could have struck piece of it, we wouldn't have found anyway.
Struck by lightning.
Yes, we can expect extreme level of climate change then, which is always a good to end on. So, thanks to us, Alex. Yeah, I guess you lost a couple of points in San Marino and Imola. You seem to have gained almost all of them back in the space of 1 race. So I assume the gaps is going to balloon back out again, and it'll be like you never left. So.
True, I mean, not bad. I take it.
I think that's very much an understatement. Well, thanks for talking to us, Alex, and we'll let you go on your way until your next wins. I'm sure we're going to see stuff.
All right, thank you so much, guys, and have a good day.
Well, there we go. I think I sort of. I hope I sound like I'm not supportive of Alex there, but yeah, definitely impressive performances in both races, and the momentum very much back in his corner after a couple of race 2s in Sepang and Canada that didn't go to plan, and of course another he didn't turn up for in the Imola because he was at St. Nicholas off in real life, of course. But anyway, that concludes all the action from Silverstone, as you say, Spa in 2 weeks' time, and don't forget, of course, next week we have got Super Lights, where you'll be able to hear the thoughts of Toby Davies, Alex Folks, as they watch Aaron Vasquez fight for more wins at the top there. And of course, Super League, where I'll be betting on the British Grand Prix Silverstone, where Loic Moynier continues to be chased down by his championship for 6 different winners in the last couple of races then. So it is very, very wide open at the top. But anyway, Owen, final thoughts on today.
Yeah, so credit to every driver who braved the weather conditions here in the European. Certainly the continental Europeans have suffered at the worst, as Alex described there. So credit to everybody who gave it an honest go and entertained ourselves working in the media team and all our viewers. I really appreciate that. In terms of the racing, yeah, it's probably a case where the tension was certainly there for a while. The queues of drivers in the top 5 are going for it. But Alex Ventus showed his class, and then race 2, it was just a case of the contenders beneath Alex, who had some terrible luck and didn't collect any points. So that swings it straight back in the Laho supremacy. So yeah, that means it is a case of if he just ticks over more podiums, then the title will be his. So yeah, it is a case everybody has to somehow put a stop to this when he's actually in attendance.
If he shows up, he's going to win at least one race. So, and it's usually race 1. In this case, race 2 as well. So the odds look very good if your name is Alex Laho. And if your name is literally anything else, you've got quite a lot of work to do to catch up. But nonetheless, some brilliant performances lower down the field as well. In particular, Scott Flack and Philip Savinsky getting their first podiums of the season for Philip Savinsky. First podium period in FS1. So that concludes all the action. My thank you very much to Eoin for joining me in commentary, to Fabian Jungbluth in broadcast direction, to everybody here at GPVWC for keeping the show on the road. And yeah, we will see you again at Spa in 2 weeks' time for the next round in this crazy road that is FS1. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.
Thank you.